magnificent down here. Entertainment, fashion, and a little bit of wagering. Look at that beautiful shot. What a run. What a lovely filly she is.
The contenders in this year's race have proven themselves and they do stand out.
This is Durban. This is the Greyville Racecourse, and this is where the sun has come out to shine brightly on yet another year of the history of one of the world's greatest horse races. This, folks, is the Greyville Turf, where legends like C. Cottage walked, Terence Millard, but today's racing influencers will have their chance to make their mark in history here at the Vodacom Durban July. You're on SuperSport, and we're live. Well, it is certainly building up. The crowds are pouring in. The fashionistas are here. And as I mentioned earlier, all the influencers in the horse racing industry, whether they be from Johannesburg, from Cape Town, from local, they are here to do battle on the one day of the year that you want to be in the winner's enclosure. It's Greyville Racecourses. All roads lead to Greyville today for the running of the 2019 Vodacom Durban July. And the big one, welcome. It is a great day here at Vodacom Durban July Day already. I have to say it's been tough for punters. We've had 3 races that we're going to show you here on the Vodacom Durban July coverage. And you know what? The tote favourite has missed a place in every race. Races 3, 4 and 5. No sign of the tote favourite. So if that trend is going to be continuing today, it is going to be really tough. But to help me find a winner, I've got the man with the golden voice. He's next to me, Ravon Smith. Ravon, great to have you here on the broadcast. And it's been tough already for punters.
Good afternoon, Neil. Yes, it has. I can tell you now, I went out first leg of the place accumulator, looked at the ticket again, out second leg of the place accumulator. So I can tell you that is how difficult it is. And I had 4 horses by 5 horses.
Yes.
So that explains exactly how difficult it is and how tough it is to find winners on today's card.
Well, I tell you what, we had a bit of drama already behind us there. A horse rearing up. I think the horse is okay, which is pleasing, but as he's being washed down after his efforts in the previous race. Ravon, this is the one day that everybody wants to win, isn't it? Because not only the Vodacom Durban July, you want to be a winner, whether it's an owner, a trainer, or a jockey.
It's billed as Africa's greatest horse race. And everybody from all corners of South Africa is present at Greyville this afternoon. In fact, the best horses in the country are going to be present throughout the course of the day. It doesn't only stop with the Vodacom Durban July. There is another Grade 1 fillies race later on in the card once we go off air. And the 2 juvenile races that are run just before the Vodacom Durban July. These are all pointers towards who will be crowned the champion during the course of the year. And today is the day, I think, that a lot of those awards will be decided.
Well, we're on air for a good 2.5 hours with you, and Ravon and I have been out and about. We've conducted some really exciting interviews, and we've got some celebrities, we've got the fashion, we've got everything that you want on the next 2.5 hours. Here's the racing part of it. We are going to be taking race 6 and race 7 live. So race 6 is an important race because it's one of the, apart from the fact that it's in the exotics for the punters, who we've already mentioned, are taking a bit of a pounding with the favourites. That's the Durban Golden Horseshoe, a grade 2 for the 2-year-olds. There's a very short price fancied runner there in the form of number 5, Eden Rock. Sean Tarry's son of VAR. Lyle Hewitson will ride. They've had a winner already today, so look out for that. And that'll be race 6 at 3:10. And then, of course, we'll knuckle down to the real business at hand. We've had 119 runnings of the Vodacom Durban July. Today will be just part of adding to that tapestry, the tradition of horses. And of course, you leave your indelible mark on history, whether you're the winning jockey, the winning trainer, or the winning owner of this race, because long after we're all dead and buried, people will be saying, oh, remember who won the 2019 running of the Vodacom Durban July, as we have. Just very quickly, Ravon, we're going to be joined later on by Anthony Delpech, another man who's had multiple winners in this race. So we're blessed to have Anthony with us in the broadcast later.
We are indeed. And if one thinks those yellow and blue silks of Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalifa Al Maktoum.
Absolutely.
He was the one that carried that silks to victory on more than one occasion. And I think it's actually going to be in everyone's interest to listen carefully as to how he looks at horses going down to the start, what he sees, and what he will tell us about the big race temperament of jockeys in the saddle, who's nervous, who's not nervous, what horse is going down well, and all these things add up to actually seeing the horse's well-being. We've got a favourite that is very temperamental, and it's going to be very interesting, more than anything, to hear his thoughts on Hawam.
Well, fortunately, I've got two of the loveliest ladies I've ever worked with who have absolutely no temperamental issues. Neither Lala or our good friend Minnie will be troubled by today's activities. Girls, you look absolutely beautiful. We love to hear from you. Tell us everything that's happening. Who's here? Who's the celebs? Lala, welcome to you first. Great to have you on the broadcast. I've already worked with you early on that Blitz crossing. You look fantastic.
Oh, bless Neil. Well, you look so dapper yourself. Well, hi, everybody. I mean, what a perfect day it is for such a big sporting event. I don't think we could have asked for any better. The conditions are fantastic. So is the vibe. 56,000 people are set to be streaming through to the Durban July this year. And I can just tell you that I am really excited to be part of the team that will be bringing you all the live action on your World of Champions. It is horses, it is fashion, it's all the characters, and I think between all of us here in the team for today, we have definitely got you covered.
Lala, thank you very much. And of course, we're focused very much on the Vodacom Durban July because the Proteas only play a little bit later on. It's a day-nighter. And then, of course, Bafana, who we wish all the best. That could be the biggest upset ever in the history of sport if we beat Egypt today. So fingers crossed. I know my team are in Johannesburg and they'll be covering it later on. But Minnie, you look fantastic as well. And I know you would never miss the Vodacom Durban July. You just love it.
Absolutely not. Thank you so much, Neil. I mean, this is one of my favorite events on the social calendar. It's where fashion, lifestyle meets sport. And of course, I'll be chatting to all the stars of Africa who are going to be right here talking about their fashion, who inspired their looks, and of course, which horse they will be putting their money on. So all of that action you can catch live right here on your World of Champions. I am so excited to be broadcasting with you guys. Can't wait to catch up with you later, Neil. Tell us what's going on though now.
Well, we've had a bit of drama, as I say, in the parade ring, but the thing is to always remember, of course, that we're live, and we have no idea how horses are going to react, as Ravon has said, how trainers, how the big race temperament comes through, and we've got a horse, Hawam, who had an incident. Racing folk will know this, but I want to tell folks who might be watching on the SuperSport for the first time. He was favourite for one of the big graded races in Johannesburg. He was in the parade ring and he actually flipped over. So he has temperament issues. It's going to be interesting to see how he reacts today in front of a massive crowd, a bigger crowd than was at Turffontein on the day he misbehaved.
Yes, and the good thing was that they did the right thing in order to scratch him because he broke away, he ran down to the start, and as a precautionary measure, they took him out. I mean, he's a valuable horse. He comes into the Vodacom Durban July on the back of 3 Grade 1 victories.
Yeah.
Many people will say today is his toughest task to date, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Because if you look at the opposition that he's beaten so far, he's beaten his own age group, and he's only taken on the older horses in the Champions Challenge up at Turffontein. And a lot of horses are actually better off with him at the weights if you look at the form of the race. But coming here in front of 50,000 people, I'm almost certain that Mike de Kock would have gotten stipendiary permission in order to take Hawam with a lead pony out, down to the start, as quickly as possible before the rest of the horses leave the parade ring to make their way to the start.
Well, you're right. He's a consummate professional, Mike de Kock. He's trained winners all over the globe. So he'll know his horse. He'll know how he's feeling, how he's travelled. And, of course, he's had the benefit of being down here. You'll hear in an interview with Mike later on. He's been down here at Greyville and trained here. The stable companion, not so. Barahin actually has been trained in Johannesburg. He would have arrived on Thursday and Friday for the big race. Mike de Kock is on record saying he's surprised Barahin isn't more fancied because he gets a pull at the weights, a significant pull, and he could be the dark horse. I'm a very good friend of Muzieni's, love the man. Maybe, and you said to it, maybe it's Muzi's first July. We've had Samanga Kamalo win a July. Yeah. Could be Muzi this year.
Well, Muzi's already won a race this afternoon, so I'm keeping fingers crossed because Muzi's also in the running to be crowned South Africa's champion jockey at the end of this month. And what a way it would be for him to become champion jockey with the Vodacom Durban July victory as part of it.
Well, you're right. There's so many stories within the stories of horse racing today. There's the race for the Jockeys Championship. Anton Marcus involved, Lyle Hewitson and Muzieni. But let's quickly bring you what happened earlier on. We've had a lot of racing. I mentioned the tote favourites haven't appeared. Race 3 was the first race that we're going to show you. This was the first leg of the place accumulator. It was the Betting World 2200, grade 3 over 2,200 metres. We picked them up at the top of the straight here. The favourite in the race was actually horse number 5, Zilzal, who only managed to finish 4th. But let's have a look at the closing stages.
Zilzal still leads it coming to the 200, but the Dazzler's a big runner. Bunker's on the outside, and Charles tries to get into the race. Down the inside, Bees and Gimme One Night is taking off, and Shenanigans exploding through. Shenanigans won it from Gimme One Night. Third place will go to the Dazzler, and then Zilzal.
Well, a lovely slow-mo of Shenanigans. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier on about Sean Tarry and Lyle Hewitson. They've got a very short price favourite in the feature race prior to the July that we're going to show you, the 6th race. That will be Eden Rock. And they're off to a good start here. Son of Dynasty, Shenanigans out of a Sports World mare has won it. Lyle Hewitson for Sean Tarry. A trainer-jockey combination, who of course have Legal Eagle in the big one, but that's good sign. So Shenanigans, that was number 9 on the card, beat home a real outsider, Ravorn, in the form of number 12, Gimme One Night. Then Mike de Kock's trained the Dazzler, that was number 7 on the card, and Zilzal could only manage back in 4th. So the result there, 9, 11, 7 and 5. But again, Charles went missing there, Bunker Hunt went missing. It was a surprise result for many.
It was a surprise result. As I told you, I had 4 horses in the first leg of the place accumulator, and that ticket is already in the bin. What is interesting is that Zilzal was actually a reserve runner for the Vodacom Durban July. He's run 4th in what is known as the consolation to the Vodacom Durban July. I did get a SMS from Philip Sarenbach, one of the part owners of the horse that ran 2nd, called Gimme One Night. And the message read, "Please, can I arrange for you to call the Gold Cup? Because this horse only wins if you call."
There you go. Well, that was a good run for them today. Let's move on to our next race that we took here. This was sponsored actually by DSTV, so we're keeping it very much in-house, in the family. We love DSTV, of course. This is the DSTV Gold Vase, sponsored by DSTV. Don't forget to download your DSTV now. We've got so much you want to watch. This race was the Gold Vase. Yes, you guessed it, another upset.
My name is Rawia. I'm from Ethiopia.
Are you from...
Okay, well, we don't have the commentary here, but this is out in front, Strathton, but he was caught along the inside by a horse I know well. We call it Walter Smoothie, and Walter Smoothie came through to be the smooth winner here. What a good ride there from Diego de Gavea for Stuart Pettigrew, and he beat the horse along the inside, which actually, Ravorn, you knew that I liked today. I told Joey Ramsden when I saw him, I said, I really like one of your horses today, number 9, Dynasty's Blossom, and she ran a courageous race. She finished 2nd. She, too, a daughter of Dynasty. Remember, we had a Dynasty win the 3rd race. This one was just pipped by the son of Biarritz, which run and won under 57 kilograms, just holding out the late thrust of Samanga Kamalo aboard number 9, Dynasty's Blossom. Let's have a look at that result then. So this was the DSTV Gold Vase Grade 3, and congratulations to the connections. Walter Smoothy, who makes himself a 6-time winner and won, but he was big odds. He paid something like 13, 14 rand to win on the tote. That's number 2, the winner there. Second place to number 9, Dynasty's Blossom. He paid 2 rand odd a place. Only then number 1, Strathdown, but he wasn't the tote favourite actually. The tote favourite in the race was number 8, Sunshine Silk, who missed the top 4. So that certainly was a surprise there. Walter Smoothy beating Dynasty's Blossom and Strathdown. So the damage that was done in the first leg of the place accumulator was compounded with the second leg. But stand by, because we're going to show you what transpired in the next race as well, which was race 5, and this was another surprise result, because a very short price favourite, they expected number 11 True to Life to run well. She ran okay, but she got beaten. Let's listen to the commentary. Okay, yeah, we're just battling to get through to our commentary, but we'll sort that out for you when we take the main racing. This was a triumph for Vaughan Smith for Tobias Spies. Yeah. Toby Spies' yard. The winner was another surprise, Cockney Pride. When I say a surprise, you know, she did win last time out, but she was stepping up to this Zulu Kingdom Explorer Golden Slipper Grade 2, and much was expected for some of the fancied runners here, but Spies train number 2 Cockney Bride actually beat the stable companion. You can see there number 14 What You Are, so 2 from 14, a big exacta payment there. Third place went to number 3 Gabor for the Drakenstein stud Interests of Gaynor Rupert, and of course Gaynor will be delighted with that performance. Warren Kennedy rode a good run from a poor draw, and only then number 1 Kavivar, but there were many disappointments here. The likes of number 11 True to Life, the tote favourite, never really got a blow in, although did finish 5th, but from a PA and quartet point of view. So again, dare I say it, Greyville and the first races we've showed you there, 3, 4, 5 Ravon, big results. If you're running in the PA, hold on to that ticket.
I mean, the starting prices of the first 3 past the post was 33 to 1, 20 to 1, 10 to 1. So it just goes to show you how these horses were not fancied. Another horse that went down as a disappointment was Miss Florida, who won the Grade 1 at Scottsville.
Yeah.
I mean, she was also fancied. She was shortened in the betting to be almost joint favourite at the time of the race was run. But I can tell you now, the patrons are really putting their name at the back of their losing tickets and putting it into the lucky dip, hoping that they're going to be able to win some consolation prizes, because the results have been very difficult.
Well, don't worry, because it's a long day and the favourites will still arrive. Vodacom Durban July, I can tell you what, there's a lot of people on course on the Hawam horse. People are saying Anton Marcus again, drawn well, got everything in his favour. He's a Grade 1 winner. He won the Daily News here, and I think he is going to be the horse to beat. Of course, there are people who think that Do It Again can do exactly what his name suggests. Do It Again. And a little bit later on in the broadcast, I had a chance to talk to his breeder, Robin Bruss, who says he can exactly that, do it again. Right, time for us now to talk about the Vodacom Durban July. As an event, we all arrive here and of course we enjoy the day, but there are many months of planning and preparation that go into a day like this. So we thought we'd take you behind the scenes and take you to the preparations for today's big one, the Vodacom Durban July.
We're excited for another edition of South Africa's greatest sporting and social occasion, the Vodacom Durban July. It's probably one of the biggest events of its kind in South Africa. One-day event, 55,000 people, all the top corporates, the politicians, the socialites, the fashionistas, right down to the corner shop owner from KZN and Gauteng, and of course incredible thoroughbred racing. I mean, the Vodacom Durban July is the greatest horse racing event in Africa. We start our formal planning sessions about 8 months out from the event every year. Then we launch our major fashion themes in early February to really create a 4-month wave leading up to the event. For the past 10 days, everything you see behind me has started to really load in. Literally the thousands of people who come here to do a job and to work on race day in some capacity is also an incredible stat attached to the race. I think we do have upwards of 2,500 staff working on the event, not just from the organizers, but from all the stakeholders and the marquee owners and the various activation teams. So it's a big enterprise. We've got a bigger program on there this year. AKA is performing. We've got our top designers from around South Africa throughout the morning and early afternoon. This year's field and other experts will say it better, but is one of the classiest fields in recent memory. The obvious favorite, Hawam, going head-to-head with last year's winner, Do It Again. He's also racing his brother in the race, Rainbow Bridge, so that'll be an interesting thing to watch out for. The social media aspect of this event is getting bigger all the time, and photo feeds and live streams going on all over the place. So getting onto the social media pages and interacting, I think, is an ever-evolving element to the race. Hashtag VDJ 2019. Look for us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, let's take you to the field for the Vodacom Durban July. We have had some breaking news, of course, over the last 24 hours. Number 17, Fresnay, is out of the race. We had an earlier scratching, so just to bring you up to date, numbers 15, 17, and the emergency acceptor, as it were, the reserve runner, number 20, are out. So 15, 17, and 20 are out. Time for us now to take you to a build-up of what was happening as far as the July is concerned and the final field announcement. It was quite interesting from Gold Circle and Vodacom. They took it out and about a bit. They went to the Gateway Centre, and we took all the cameras there to find out the final field and the draw.
Thank you for joining us for the announcement of the final field for the Vodacom Durban July 2019. Number 1, multiple Grade 1 winner and defending champion, Do It Again, to be ridden by Richard Fourie and trained by Justin Snaith. Number 2, the Sun Met winner, Rainbow Bridge, winner of the Betting World 2200 head honcho. Number 4 is South Africa's champion 3-year-old, Hawam, a winner of 6 from 7 starts. Number 10, the G-Bet Summer Cup winner, Tilbury Fort, of last season's runner-up, Made to Conquer, the last of the guaranteed runners. The gold bracelet winner, number 18, Miyabi Gold. Justin Snaith has 5 runners in the race. I think that has to be a South African record as far as the Vodacom Durban July is concerned.
The entire race is 2 minutes, and you're taking that one little second where you've got to make a decision, and it will change the results of the race. So you just hope those split decisions go your way.
Bruce goes straight for the number 16 gate. Drawn 1, Tilbury Fort. Craig Zogby has done the business.
The significance of the draw is very important. They race over 2,200 meters. The distance is measured along the rail. So clearly the closer you are to the rail, the shorter distance you have to run. But it's not quite as simple as all that, but that's the theory.
Drawn 2. Mumsy's got gate number 15, and Hawam is drawn at gate number 3. Barrahin has drawn gate number 6. 2 cracking draws for Mike de Kock. Do It Again is drawn 10, draws right alongside. The 2 stable companions can eyeball each other in gates 10 and 11. Now for double mint, drawn 12, 10, 11, and 12.
It's an extremely competitive field. The top-rated horses are drawn well, and they're in competitive positions. They have the top riders on.
17 for Twist of Fate, and 13 for Fresnay. So there we have it. The draw for the 2019 Vodacom Durban July. The fancied runners appear to have done well.
This is the race we all want to win. You know, it's like the Melbourne Cup or the Derby in England. The best horses in South Africa are teeing it up.
Thank you for joining us, and may the games begin.
So let's focus a little bit on this Durban July Revorn field for race 7. We saw the announcement at Gateway, and a lot of things can happen, of course. We're going to have a look at the horses. You can take your eye through them, but there's stories within the stories here, and it really revolves around Anton Marcus. He could have ridden Perhaps he could have ridden Do It Again, who he won the race on last year, but he also could have ridden Rainbow Bridge number 2. And you can see Richard Faree now rides Do It Again, who is the stable jockey. It's not a huge surprise. Gavin Lorena rides Rainbow Bridge. Now, the reason is that Anton Marcus has chosen, as it were, to ride Hawam. Many people are of the opinion that yes, the horse has done well, but it's with a view to the fact that he's a 3-year-old and he might have an international campaign still ahead of him. So perhaps he wants to be coupled with Hawam, not only for today, but also for his future, which would make sense to me.
Absolutely. And Hawam is the type of horse that no doubt will be destined to go to Dubai. He is drawn barrier position 3, but as we mentioned earlier, he can be very temperamental. It's interesting that Anton decided to rather commit to Hawam than the half-brother Rainbow Bridge, who initially he was contracted to ride because he took the ride going into the Sun Met.
Just quickly to confirm, there's 15, who is a non-runner. Magnificent 7 is out. And as we turn over to have a look at 17, 18 and 19, Fresnay was scratched this morning, so number 17 is a no-runner. Unfortunately, number 20 had already been scratched. That's the rules of the Vodacom Durban July. He'd come out actually before Fresnay had. So, as I mentioned earlier on, 15, 17 and 20 are out of the Vodacom Durban July, but we've still got a huge field and a very open field. So, as we've mentioned, Hawam's going to be very popular on course, so we'll Do It Again. We are fascinated to see how they go down, and we'll have a look at a view at all the horses on the way down to the start a little bit later on after we've brought you coverage of race 6. And let's go to Minnie, because she's been busy, of course, out there and about, and we're going to try and bring you as much fashion, and some of the beautiful people of not only KwaZulu-Natal but of South Africa are here at the races today.
We're still at the Vodacom Durban July, and we're actually at the Gold Circle, one of the best places to see all the fashion. All the people are gathered around here, but what makes it even more special is the fact that it's right by the finish line. So that horse that you bet on, you can see firsthand right here if you are getting your money back or making some extra money. I've got some beautiful people lined up that are standing by. They look absolutely amazing. We're actually kind of twinning, babe. What's your name?
My name is Tuli Mtombeni.
Tuli, what are you wearing? Who are you wearing? What inspired the look?
Okay, I'm wearing white DE, and then accessories I'm wearing by Dozinclair, and then I just wanted to look like a star.
I love the fact that you got something that is affordable, but you look like $1 million, looking absolutely beautiful. African stars in the making. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm seeing Ethiopia, I'm seeing Goddess. What is your name? Tell me who you're wearing.
My name is Rawia. I'm from Ethiopia.
Are you from Serbia? Ethiopia, I knew it! I was like, Ethiopian Goddess. Tell me what inspired your look for today.
It's just my nature, and I'm a student fashion designer. So I just made it, and I come up with it, and this is my career.
As you can see, the horses have just crossed the finish line. Everyone's going absolutely crazy. But of course, I'm here talking fashion, so we're going to get to our next guest. How are you, my love? What is your name?
I'm good. My name is Daniela Bondi.
You look insane. Tell us what inspired this look.
Okay, I was inspired with this look by, it's Durban July, as everyone can see. And African wear, it's winter, so I put everything together to make this look by myself because I'm a fashion designer student.
Oh, we're seeing Southern African goddesses. We're seeing goddesses from Ethiopia. It is African stars right here at the Gold Circle at the Vodacom Durban July. We're having so much fun. I'm going to go find some people. We'll check you in a moment.
People are having fun here for sure, and there is a lot of interest. Fashion-wise, people enjoy a punt, people enjoy watching all the sport, and they come here for the big race, the Vodacom Durban July, just to rub shoulders with the rich and famous and the celebrities. Ravon, big day, and of course it's hotting up because not everybody comes to the races for the first 3-4, but they make sure that they're here for the big one, which is counting down.
And everybody has gone out of their way to live up to expectation as far as the theme is concerned. Stars of Africa. And I can tell you the fashion really has been inspired by the theme that has been set by Gold Circle. Every year they come up with a unique theme, and every year everybody does their bit in order to look the part.
Well, it's very much the Melbourne Cup of South Africa, and of course Melbourne Cup is famous in Australia for being the race that stops the nation. Well, this very much stops certainly Durban and across the country, because Ravon will tell you in Cape Town everybody's got an opinion about the race. Where I come from, Johannesburg, people were talking to me in the aeroplane, talking to me at the airport saying, what are we going to back, Neil? Well, of course, on the day you'll make your decision. KwaZulu-Natal tourism, it's very important, of course, down here to attract all of the people from out of province. And Minnie has caught up with Mamusa Dube to talk to her about what it means, the Durban July, for KZN tourism.
I am with the MEC of Economic Development, Dube Ncube. She is standing with me, looking absolutely beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty in pink. I love it.
Thank you very much, Minnie. Welcome to Durban.
I am so excited to be in my hometown. Everyone looks amazing, but there's more to the Durban July than just the fashion and the horses. There's a huge impact that the economic development has in terms of the Durban July. So in your opinion, what would you say the economic impact of the Durban July is on KZN and Durban?
Well, the economic development spin-off is huge. I can tell you that we have more than 45,000 people so far that have arrived, that have come in through the doors, and we have about 450 people that have got jobs, that have been employed because of this. That is not even counting the ones in the hotels and everywhere else. The occupancy rate of our hotels is standing at about 85%, so that shows the huge economic impact that the Vodacom July has in our province, and we're very excited about that.
I'm so excited, but I mean, I remember last night when I got in, it was incredibly packed, so those numbers really don't shock me. It is completely packed. I think all roads led to Durban this weekend. Now, the Durban July is an amazing event and one of Africa's biggest events. Are there future plans to make it a Pan-African event?
Oh, definitely. As we are here today, we have more than 45 international media, particularly from our African continent, that have joined us for the race. They have been with us for the whole week to get to see what happens, what preparations are happening. So the media also that is here from other African countries, indeed, it's got a huge attraction now from the rest of Africa, and everybody is looking forward for the day when this will be the African event.
I completely agree. I mean, I was talking to a girl just now, actually, all the way from Ethiopia, coming here for the Durban July. So it really is one of the biggest events, and we're looking forward to see it grow from strength to strength. Now, of course, the value of the Durban July in terms of tourism, what would you say on that?
I would say we have more than 300 million is the value of the economic impact injection for just this weekend alone that brings that is brought by the Durban Vodacom July, and that is very exciting for us. But more than that, the whole of South Africa, there's also the Blue Train that has joined in, and you had all those visitors coming from all over the country that have come down with the Blue Train, and as a cherry on the top, and many other roads, as you say, leading down to KwaZulu-Natal, and that is really exciting. More than 300 million economic injection that is brought by this Vodacom Durban July.
Well, MEC, it's been a month of you being appointed, and already you're right in the thick of things here at the Durban July. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. And the Durban July really has a huge impact in terms of economic development right here in KZN and Durban, and of course, the South African tourism industry as a whole. It's time for us to take a quick break, but we will see you after this.
Greyville Racecourse on big race day, Vodacom Durban July for 2019. We've got a big race coming up, of course. We've got the Group 2 race, and it's going to be an important race. The 2-year-olds, of course, frequently go on to do well as 3-year-olds. And last year, we saw a big race day in the form of Barrahin, who's come twice to Greyville and done well as a 2-year-old. And now here he is this year in the Vodacom Durban July, getting a bit of weight from his stable companion and expected to run well. Ravaughn's here, gold medallion, always a tough race to win. Take us through the field there, from top to bottom with some of the big names, and the favourite, of course, is the 5.
5, Eden Rock is the favourite with Lyle Hewitson and Sean Terry. They've already had a winner this afternoon. Note that number 6, Enjoy the View, is a scratching, as well as the reserve runners, numbers 15, 16 and 17. They have also all been scratched from this race. So that reduces the field down to 13 runners who will face the starter at 3:10 this afternoon. Luke Ferraris rides number 1, and on this page, I think a horse that certainly needs to be watched is number 12, Poinciana. Warren Kennedy, he's already had a winner this afternoon, and to me, that could be the roughie if you are looking for one to beat the favourite in this race.
Okay, well, I think they are actually starting to load up for the Golden Horseshoe, so we'll get on to that in a moment. Grade 2 over 1,400 metres, and Craig is, of course, going to call. It's a big day for Craig. I've been talking to him earlier on. You'll get to hear that later on. He's called 34 Vodacom Durban Julys. He still doesn't look a day over 30, so I don't know where he's been calling all of those, but it's an exciting day for our commentators as well. Let's cross over then and take the horses as they lead in live for race 6, the race before the Vodacom Durban July.
And the runners are down at the start over at the 1,400 metre marker. There is a couple of minutes still remaining, and it's an open betting race in the Durban Gold Horseshoe Grade 2 over 1,400 metres. This is for 2-year-olds. They've arrived at the start. There's about 3 minutes to race time, and the favourite is number 5, Eden Rock. Many bankers on the day for punters, and that's showing up at R2.10. So Eden Rock is your favourite, and Eden Rock is undefeated over 1,400 and 1,200 metres, was slow out first time and goes over the 1,200 and then steps up over the 1,400 metres. The second favourite currently, and also fancied in the betting, is number 13, and that's put on the red light, also from Sean Terry's yard. So just looking at the runners passing your screen here, Baby Let's Mamba, number 9, looks very calm indeed, and that is King of Tara. That's with the green sleeves and cap. Aqua Delta is number 1 on the far side with the orange cap. Here's Justinian just nodding. This is the Vercingetorix, and there's number 12, Poinciana. Type of horse that's got to be fancied. Cartel Captain won very nice after a barrier trial, and then showed pace at Scottsville over 1,200 metres, but comes to a race for the first time, and this is on the turf at Greyville. First time at Greyville here for Cartel Captain. So the 2-year-olds, they go from that jump. There's a very small spur at the top of the stretch that's only 2 metres in the Durban Golden Horseshoe, and the first stake is 375,000 Rand. You've heard from Ravaughan all the scratching, number 6, 15, 16 and 17. A couple of the riders still got their feet out, the irons, so they will start loading up shortly. Of course, the next big one's the Vodacom Durban July, but let's hear what Neil Andrews and Ravaughan have to say.
Yeah, thanks very much. So there's obviously going to be a bit of a delay. We'll cross back when the horses are loading. The other thing, of course, with 2-year-olds is, as we know, they're still babies, effectively, Ravaughan, and we don't know how they're going to react on the way down to the start, going into the starting stalls, particularly on a big day like this. Even senior horses have problems.
And it's a lot of them going over the strip for the first time as well, over 1,400 metres, and many of them mature at different intervals of their 2-year-old career. And I think that is why it is so difficult to pick an outright winner. Even though the money's down for Eden Rock, I don't think Eden Rock is as good a thing as everyone is making it out to be, considering the results we've had this afternoon. It's all about luck in running, it's about tactics, it's about finding the right position, getting the right splits, and being in the right place at the right time to win the race. So there's a lot of things that counts against these juveniles. 1,400 metres, first time, round the turn, big crowd. That can also play a big part.
Absolutely. Well, Anthony Delpesh has just walked past saying, what time I'm on the big broadcast. I wish he was here now, actually, because we could talk to him about this delay and what it does to horses. Of course, the public are completely oblivious. They'll just have another drink, another cocktail, and get into the racing. What I can say, of course, is that we're overdue for a favourite, Ravon. Do you think this one can arrive, a favourite?
I don't know. For punter's sake, I hope it does. This horse has been backed down to odds on. We're just about set to go, so let's join Craig for the call.
Thank you. 1,400 metres, just about all set. And they're racing away from the 1,400 metre marker towards the inside. Cartel Captain, the green sleeves and cap began well, but Loosen Your Tie goes off to lead them. Poinciana's right there. Aqua Delta's on the outside of runners. They're followed by Put On the Red Light with the white cap. The outsiders Rock the Globe. Eden Rock at this stage races 4-5 deep and about 5 or 6 lengths off the leader. Aqua Delta's a little bit strong now on the right hand side with the orange cap, runs into third place. We drop back further to the running on the inside, Master of Illusion, and one of the back markers, Captain Morgan, is about 8 or 9 lengths off the leader. Poinciana takes them to the 800 metre marker. Aqua Delta, the orange cap, is second, and Loosen Your Ties at the rail third. Cartel Captain, the green sleeves and cap. Invidia's on the outside of runners with the red sleeves. Eden Rock is further back, then comes King of Tara. Down the inside, Put On the Red Light, and then comes Justinian. Top of the lane, 400 to go. Poinciana leads it. Now Aqua Delta moves in. Down the inside, a big runner, Loosen Your Tie. Invidia, Eden Rock's trying to get into the race. Down the inside, Put On the Red Lights, coming with a storming finish. They're right across the track. Eden Rock, Invidia, Put On the Red Light, but Eden Rock is coming out, Put On the Red Light, and it's going to go to Eden Rock. Eden Rock from Put On the Red Light in an absolute thriller down to the line. So number 5, Eden Rock, pulls it out the fire, and Eden Rock remains undefeated, and this is the VAR. Sean Terry, Lyle Hewitton, second to number 13, Put On the Red Light. Sean Terry, Gavin Larena. Let's take a slow-mo replay here. Here's Eden Rock, made up some 4-5 lengths, and he nags away, but Put On the Red Light, an absolute cracking run, sneak through down the inside, but number 5 wins it by a neck or so. Third to number 7, Invidia, and that fourth position goes to number 10, and that's Loosen Your Tie. Cartel Captain, Justinian, Poinciana, and then Aqua Delta, and further back Master of Illusion, and then came King of Tara. So Eden Rock remains undefeated. Lyle Hewitton, Sean Terry, and Chris van Niekerk. Here's the winner, 2 off the right hand side, the blue sleeves, and starts to make ground, but the runner-up's a big runner. That's on the left hand side, number 13 with the white cap, Put On the Red Light by Pomodoro. They're wide apart, but the winner, Eden Rock, puts his head down at the line to win it and make many punters happier in the running of the Durban Golden Horseshoe Grade 2 over 1,400 metres. So there we go, another look at that, and there's the winner with the blue cap, and that's Eden Rock, and then Eurostas with the white cap was Put On the Red Light. That's the running of the Durban Gold Horseshoe over the 1,400 metres Grade 2. Another side view here, 5 the winner, 13 is second, third to number 7, Invidia.
But this is the most important winner that he'll just about ever ride, because the whole world, as Sheldon Peters said, had Eden Rock as a super banker. He had the form. My brother-in-law went through the form. Every single person that I know that was on the panel banked this horse called Eden Rock. And this young man destined for greatness in Hong Kong, Lyle Hewitton, he leaves in a couple of weeks' time, has delivered in no uncertain terms, not really giving too many people too many anxious moments. He's about to join me with the professional, cool as a cucumber approach that we know that he's become so famous for. He's already had a wonderful win on Shenanigans earlier on today, and he now joins me with the son of VAR in the colours of Mr. Chris van Niekerk. Very well done, Lyle. This is probably the most important winner that you'll ride for many a year, not taking anything away from Legal Eagle.
Yes, 100%. Obviously, it was the pressure out for today. There had to be pressure, but I didn't feel it because he's as easy as anything, and he's cool as a cucumber. I mean, he's just won another feature, and he's walking like he went for a stroll. So he makes my job easy. He's very good, and I'm just very pleased to be a part of his career. So thanks to Mr. Terry and to Mr. van Niekerk and the whole team back home.
You've summed it up so beautifully. This temperament is just half the battle won.
100%. He's an ultimate professional. After his gallop, Mr. Terry pulled me aside. He said, "Boy, this is our trump card today," and our trump card arrived.
Lyle Hewitton has brought home the bacon for every single punter. They've really been treated to a magnificent piece of riding, a beautiful piece of training by Sean Terry, and of course Chris van Niekerk, one of the luckiest, hardest working men in the business, and what a personality to go with it. Good luck to the whole team, and Pippa Mickelborough, who of course stands VAR, and Fastfontein for the breeding.
Well, there it is. And I tell you what a relief. What a relief for favourite punters, because it was starting to look like it could be real trouble here at the Vodacom Durban July. But Ravon called it. He said, you know what, it's about time the form book held up and we've got a favourite. And he won really well. So let's quickly bring you the result of that and share with you the punter's relief. The Durban Golden Horseshoe, Grade 2, has been won by the favourite. Good ride from Lyle Hewitson, as you heard from Andrew Bond. He's off to fly the South African flag in Hong Kong and follow in the success of, we've had so many successful riders out there in the past. Of course, Basil Marcus and then Dougie White, who dominated Hong Kong racing. Some more of the same. Actually, Aldo de Meijers booting home winners there at the moment. So well done to Lyle Hewitson. He beat home the stable companion, Put on the Red Light. Lovely name, because the mother is Roxanne. We all know, of course, that famous Sting song. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Well, followed the stable companion home. So finally a favourite. Ravon, this is pleasing, and maybe it's a sign of things to come. The big one is up next, Vodacom Durban July.
And Lyle Hewitson, Sean Terry, represents Legal Eagle, a horse that a lot of people are saying has been a bit off the boil, but you know what they say in racing? You might lose your form, but you'll never lose your ability. And I know my son is a Lyle Hewitson fan. He spoke to Lyle, and Lyle is pretty confident that with a weight of only 55 kilos, I mean, he's come down in the rating, and he's come down in the weight, he could be a horse that could surprise and run into the money, possibly even win it. Wouldn't it be great for his swan song to be a win in the Vodacom Durban July?
Well, this is why it's always a battle of the ages as we look at the closing stages of the Golden Horseshoe. The horse who runs second is actually on the inside with the white cap. That's the stable companion, Gavin Lorena riding, who'll ride Rainbow Bridge in the big one. And then closest to us is Lyle Hewitson. Same owner, Chris van Niekerk's colours, but of course the blue cap. And there he is, Lyle Hewitson leading them home on the outside. But what I wanted to say about the Vodacom Durban July, we've just seen 2-year-olds, of course, doing battle. They're like babies. They really are. They call them juveniles because they're only 2. You come to almost, I would say, maturity as a 3-year-old, where if we're talking in human terms, you're liking a 3-year-old as a 17 or an 18-year-old. But they, of course, are now coming in the Vodacom Durban July to take on fully matured horses. So again, in human terms, a 24, 25-year-old. But Legal Eagle would represent something like the Roger Federer in tennis.
That's right.
Where some people are saying, oh, you know, has age caught up with him? But it's, in terms of tennis, it would be like giving Roger Federer maybe a set advantage, because he's not carrying as much weight as the 4-year-olds.
Absolutely, and he's got experience on his side. The only thing is that this is the first time since 2015 that he's back in KwaZulu-Natal to run in the Vodacom Durban July. He ran in the race where Power King won the Vodacom Durban July. He ran as a 3-year-old. It's now 4 years later. He's coming as a 7-year-old, rising 8 at the end of this month. He's gone a little bit off the boil, but like I said earlier, you may lose your form, but you never lose your ability. And he's a horse that can turn it on in the closing stages of a race. He loves Cape Town. I mean, if you look at his form when he goes down to Cape Town during the height of the summer season, he is absolutely phenomenal. So let's hope, fingers crossed, great people that own him. Wouldn't it be such a fairy tale for them too?
Absolutely. Legal Eagle coming up, but that's part of the mystery of the Vodacom Durban July. There are many cases to be made out for many horses. Lala is, of course, in town. You've seen her already. She's been talking and finding fashion winners, and she's found us some more.
Well, what are the races without fashion? Of course, it is everything. And one of the main attractions here is the Open Track Fashion Awards, which is completely open to the public. It's basically Durban July's best looks from South Africa's public. And over here, we have the winners of the first category of the day. And that, of course, is the classic racewear for women. Absolutely gorgeous. First of all, congratulations, Makozane. This is so exciting. Tell us about the label, and also tell us about your inspiration for this gorgeous dress.
Okay, my label is called Sisters Fellas. On this particular garment, I was inspired by a baby zebra. It's originally from Africa, so that's why I took it. And also, when it is born, it just hits the ground running. So this is how I feel on my fashion journey. I just got on a fashion journey and then I just hit the ground running.
the winner of the Classic Raceway Men's Division. Congratulations, Notsingema. Tell me, how do you feel winning?
Oh, I'm feeling very, very great, and I've never at the same time. Well, it's my first time winning. 2017, I take a second prize, the Classic Raceway Male, and this is the number one. I feel like it's a dream come true. I've been here like so long, and today I made it.
I love that. So it's a success story. You were here last year for number 2 and now you got gold. Tell us about the inspiration behind this amazing outfit.
Oh, the inspiration, I think the theme this year is very exciting because it's talking to us as Africans. Africans who are bold in color, who are bold in details, and we are most inspired by the arts. And lots of things that's coming in Africa, they are making quite a lot of interesting this time. So Africa seems to be a place to be right now.
Our winners of most striking couple here at the Durban July. First of all, Lindo and Musa, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm excited, really.
Lindo, listen, I mean, you're not just wearing the dress and your husband wearing his, but you actually designed it. Tell us about the inspiration.
Yes, the theme is African stars. So I sat down and I said, okay, since it's Africa, I went for Ghana. As you can see, the fabric. This is Ghana. This is Ndebele. And this is Zulu. Wow. Yes. And this is Nigeria. This is Ghana. And this is Xhosa. So it's a mixture of Africa.
Let me get this right. You came second,
Yes.
your daughter came first, but
Yes.
you designed both.
I designed
You are
both.
just winning.
I'm just winning. I'm a winner, man. I'm a winner. You know?
What is the name of your company? Are you a designer of fascinators?
Zen Vintage. We are from Newcastle, here in KZN.
Wow.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. Your competition was tough, but I must say, these really were the most exceptional fascinators here. Congratulations.
Thank you very
You guys
much.
are definitely making a statement.
Thank you very much.
Sana, how are you feeling, Cornelia?
I still can't believe it. Like, I don't know. Oh, speechless right now. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so thankful. We're so excited, eh? And we are coming again next year. We're coming back next year.
Listen, guys, if you're planning on designing an exceptional fascinator, you better step up your game.
Yeah, brilliant fashion, of course. And of course, there's designers aplenty. I'm told by those people in the know that you want to be dressed by certain people. Well, we've got a look behind the scenes at Rina Chunga Kuterman, who is one of the real name designers. I have to say, Ravon and myself are not dressed by Rina, but maybe there's next year. Let's see what she's done for this year's Vodacom Durban July.
My name is Rina Chunga Kuterman and I am the founder of African contemporary brand Rich Factory. So Rich is an acronym for my first name and my maiden surname, Rina Chunga. The first 2 letters of each make Rich. My dad came up with it, and at first I was just humoring him by using it, and then I realized, hey, it actually really works. So our brand is an African contemporary brand, so it changes from season to season, but what happens is it just gets cooler every season. So the way we use our prints just gets better and better. Our collection for Durban July is African futuristic, and it's couture because the Vodacom Paddock's theme is couture. So we've got a mix of African fabrics and we mix them with a lot of tulle, but in some very formal cuts, but fun. In fact, the first dress that we made for the collection, it had an African print, but what was so interesting is the print had horses on it, which I thought was really quirky. I think Durban July, you could take a risk with it, which is really fun. Its print clashes and it's very futuristic shape. So if you think of like the future, just that probably in your mind's eye, you would think about it in a silver or a gray. We've done that in an African print. From this year's Durban July, I am expecting people having fun with their clothes, taking chances. I'm expecting to have a good time. I'm expecting to see just a lot of fashion and just basically fashion watch. I have absolutely no idea, no knowledge of anything that has to do with horse racing, but I think it's going to be a good day to learn. Hopefully they'll have little information counters where they can give us some good information, and I mean, I will place a bet.
Welcome back to Greyville, Vodacom Durban July Day. Well, now we, of course, strap ourselves in for the 2019 running, and the horses will be coming out in the parade ring. But we thought we'd go back a calendar year and take you back to what transpired at the 2018 Vodacom Durban July. And let's have a listen, because Do It Again was a 3-year-old last year, and he absolutely smashed them under Anton Marcus.
Elusive Silver's running on, Made to Conquer, Do It Again's a big runner, Matador Man, Elusive Silver's coming home strongly now, Elusive Silver and Do It Again, down the inside, Made to Conquer, but it's Do It Again, and Do It Again's running strongly from Made to Conquer, Do It Again has won it, Do It Again, Made to Conquer, Elusive Silver, and maybe fourth, Majestic Mamba. That's the running of the Vodacom Durban July, and it's gone to Do It Again. Do It Again has won it under Anton Marcus, the gelding by twice over Justin Snaith, and they win it well, and this is win number 4 from 8, so it's a 1-2 for Justin Snaith, Made to Conquer and Jeff Lloyd.
Well, as you saw there, the truth of the matter is that he smashed them last year. He finished clear of Made to Conquer, but significantly they were well clear of the rest of the field. Here's a look at the last 11 winners, some familiar faces there, and some big horses that were backed and shouted home. I can see Anthony Delpish's name there in 2011 with a Gugu, and Bold Savano in 2010. That's relevant to us because in a short while Anthony will join us and we'll get his perceptions of this year's running of the 2019 Vodacom Durban July. But I had a chance a little bit earlier on to talk to Robin Bruss. These, by the way, are the horses that have managed back-to-back winners. And the reason why I caught up with Robin Bruss a little bit earlier on is because he bred the winner, Do It Again, last year. And they are back at another tilt. But the question, of course, about Vodacom Durban July is the horse itself. How does it get here? How do you breed a champion? How do you breed a winner of a Vodacom Durban July? Here's Robin Bruss to tell us more. Well, I'm in the winner's enclosure, and with me is Robin Bruss, the breeder of the winner of last year's race, Do It Again. We want to share something with you. Here's a famous quote from Federico Tessio. He said, "The thoroughbred exists because its selection has depended not on experts, technicians or zoologists, but on a piece of wood, the winning post of the Epsom Derby." Now, this is the equivalent of the winning post of the Epsom Derby, Robin Bruss, because this is the Vodacom Durban July winner's enclosure.
Well, it is the ultimate race that every owner wants to win and every breeder wants to breed the winner of. Now, my love affair with this race started in 1983 when I happened to buy as an agent Tekla Bluff for Sydney Press, and she won the July, the first filly in 21 years. Since then, ever since then, 1983, I've been trying to recreate that success, and finally, like Tessio, with great focus and application and a hell of a lot of luck, I finally bred the winner last year in Do It Again, and I'm hoping, against all hope, that he manages to achieve it for the second time this year.
Well, we've looked at handicapping. I spoke to Charles Ford during the week, and we've had a lot of comments about how much the horses have improved from 3 to 4. He's got a shoulder top weight, which means he has to have improved many lengths. What do you think?
Very hard for a top-weighted horse to win this race. It was 1920 when the horse won with 61 kgs, and we had to wait until 2 years ago when Marinaresco won with 60 to prove it can be done again. Generally, it isn't, but these days it's become a race. The last 4 of the 5 runnings won by 4-year-olds. He's well weighted. Sorry, he has the highest weight. He's the best horse in the race, I think, but giving away so much weight is going to be a tough ask.
Robin's told you it's a handicap. He's managed to breed the winner of the Vodacom Durban July last year. Can the horse do it again? Well, that is the question that many people, Ravon, are asking as we have a look at the field, of course. Do it again with top weight. But sure, he'll have to be at his top of his game because Rainbow Bridge beat him in the Sun Met, of course. There's others. Legal Eagle dropped down the handicap, looks well in. There's the 3-year-olds, Hawam and Barahin. Even Barahin, as opposed to Hawam, looks well in. So this race is fraught with questions that need to be answered.
A couple of 3-year-old fillies as well in the mix, in the form of Return Flight and Lady in Black. Eyes Wide Open, who's right back to his very best. Made to Conquer was runner-up last year. Mark Khan yet to win the Vodacom Durban July. Double Mint, who many people have been tipping since his phenomenal run in the Met. He's sort of coming under the radar into the race. And then Campharatus, who gets a run as a result of the scratching of number 17 in this race earlier on in the week. So, Neil, all in all, I think it is going to be a race that is going to give us something to think about when they cross that winning line at 4:20 this afternoon, because I don't think it is as clear-cut as 2-1 that they have a Hawam at the top of the bookmakers' boards.
Okay, well, Ravon with his thoughts, of course, and this race is often about trainers and jockeys. Justin Snaith is a man who's been there and done it, and he feels he can do it again.
I'm Justin Snaith and we're here at Summerveld in Natal at the Summerveld Training Centre. I have 4 horses in the Vodacom Durban July. The top weight, Do It Again, who's ridden by Richard Faree. I have Made to Conquer, who's ridden by Mark Khan. Miyabi Gold, who's ridden by Shimunga Kumalo. And Double Mint, ridden by Corne Orfer. The favourite at the moment is a horse called Hawam. But my horse Do It Again is second favourite, and he's last year's winner. This year round with Do It Again, I have a jockey that is part of my setup, my yard, my team. So we use him in all the main races. So this year he's on Do It Again, he's Richard Faree, and he won the prep race into this on Do It Again, so he knows him well. Mike de Kock is a world-renowned trainer. His stats are phenomenal. We get on really well. He's a trainer that I know what I'm up against. Your opposition's good, so you have to raise your game. It's as simple as that. I think what's very important for South African people to know is that, like all sports, here in horse racing, we are competitive with anyone in the world. The draws are vital in this race. Previously, I've won it from a 17 draw, so I've won the race 3 times. So I'm not too concerned sometimes about the draws. I'm not going to let it determine whether we win or lose. I think we've got the right draw with Do It Again. He's in 10, which means that he can see the horses on his inside. The 2 favourites are right on his inside, so it's very nice. We can just half have a look and see what they're doing. And they pretty much committed. So 5 and 6, the 2 horses, they right next to each other. They're going to be going flat out, and hopefully we can hide away from them for a little while and catch them when it counts. I come to Natal for one reason only. That's to win the Vodacom Durban July. When that horse is 200 out and you're clear, there's just no feeling like it in the world. It's incredible. I mean, it's what we live for. And at the end of the day as well, for me, the most important thing is that my horses come home safely. So to win is the greatest thing, and that they are okay, then it's you don't get a better day than that.
Justin Snaith with a strong few strings to his bow. It's not just about Do It Again, he's got a couple of others lurking. Well, we promised you to deliver you Anthony Delpish. He's joined us now, and a man, of course, who's won 4 of these races. Anthony, welcome to SuperSport's coverage, not for the first time. It's great to have you back. Gray's Inn, Classic Flag, Igugu, and what's the one I'm missing? Bolsovano. Brilliant. I mean, great memories for you here.
Yeah, fantastic memories. This race has been a very lucky race for me, and yeah, I'm missing it.
Well, the vibe is here, and we want to ask you, first of all, quick comment, because we're going to introduce the jockeys, but Hawam is the much talked about. What about Thoroughbred's temperament? His will be tested today.
It's definitely going to be tested, and he's definitely a horse that's a bit finicky, and he gets a little bit worked up. But, you know, he's got the best trainer and the best jockey on top, and that makes a huge difference. You know, I watched him at when he did his gallop here. He was very settled. I think Mark has had him, he's settled him down. But today it's another story. It's a big crowd, a lot of noise. You know, he's a little bit short for me at the price, you know, against all the top horses in the country. So I think his temperament's going to play a big part with what happens today.
And you know, Twist of Fate is not that far behind him. In the Daily News, he kind of kept him honest. And because of that, he gets 2 kilograms from him. So I know he's not well drawn, but and perhaps Hawam has maybe a bit more quality. But I suspect Twist of Fate will keep him honest again today. And then his own stable companion Barahin, who gets 3 kilograms. That's a lot of weight for a 3-year-old.
Yes, I think it is a lot of weight. But I think myself, if I'm listening to Mark, I think Hawam is a little bit above average compared to Barahin. But you know, this race it's luck and running. Things can go wrong. So that's what's going to come out at the end of the day.
Because Ravon will remember as well. I mean, you won from Classic Flag. You had the worst of the draw, didn't you?
Yes, I was drawn 19 out of 20.
There you go.
Yeah, race 3 wide the whole way. But he was definitely the best three-year-old around at that time. I've always said that whoever wins the July is always a top horse.
Yes.
You don't get an average kind of horse to come and win. They've got to be Group 1 winners to win a race like this.
You've got to earn your victory, and Ravon, we've seen it time and time again. We've had a mixed bag of results today. I'll tell you what, the punters took a bit of a punishing in races 3, 4 and 5, but we've been saved by the favourite winning in race 6. Anthony's talking about luck in running, and Gravel is notoriously trappy and tricky. You need, of course, to read the pace. I think we've got our boys ready for introduction of the jockeys, so let's cross over to Craig Peters.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the directors, management and staff of Gold Circle, welcome to Hollywood Bets Gravel for the running of the 2019 Vodacom Durban July. A special welcome to the Minister of Police, General Beckett Chele, the Acting Mayor, eThekwini Municipality, Mrs. Fozia Pierre, City Manager, Sipho Ndusa, from Vodacom, George Mendes, and the City Manager from Durban, as well as Mrs. Nomuza Dube, MEC Economic Development and Tourism and Environmental Affairs. Your attention, please. It's a privilege to introduce the jockeys for South Africa's greatest horse racing event, the Vodacom Durban July. He weighed out at 56 kilos, leading the Vodacom Durban July Roll of Honour for the most sought-after sash is your 2018 champion. This world-class rider is going for his 6th victory in the Vodacom Durban July, a win strike rate of 30%, multiple South African champion. Let's salute this giant of the jockey room, Anton Marcus. This popular rider knows how to win the big one. He has an exceptional record and can match the best. He and his legion of fans will be chanting, "Do it again, Red Art Richard Farid." As an apprentice, beat the legendary Michael Roberts record for the most number of winners, holds a top 4 position on the national log. This former South African champion rider is eager to add to the Vodacom Durban July many titles. Let's hear the roar for Gavin Larena. This talented competitor holds a top 9 position on the jockey log and is approaching his 100th winner for the season. His mount, Head Honcho, will get the perfect ride from a wide draw. It's Keegan D'Amato. The current South African champion rider has ridden himself into the heart of the racing fraternity. This fierce competitor has firmly established himself in the top echelon of South African riders. On the verge of 200 winners, I present Lyle Hewitson. Recently returned from a successful period in Singapore and was consistently in the top bracket. A former apprentice of the year. This Mauritian-born's pilot motto is never give up. Welcome, Nuresh Jaglol. A former KZN champion apprentice and teams up with a filly, Lady in Black. His visits to the #1 box has become a regular occurrence, hoping to lift the ultimate prize. Put your hands together for Sean Veal. This outstanding athlete is one of the most travelled riders in the country, approaching his 200th winner for the season and is in a titanic struggle for the Jockeys Championship. Rev it up for the popular Muziani. Hardworking and determined, this likeable rider teams up with Divine Odyssey, who has given him plenty of success. Making his debut in the Vodacom Durban July, let's hear the applause for Kelvin Habib. Has achieved the rare feat of winning the Grade 1 Champions Cup 3 years in succession with over 50 winners this season. He's riding Tilbury Fort in the big one. Raise the roof for Raymond Danielson. This gifted pilot goes head-to-head with the best of them today. Riding at the top of his game, over 100 wins for the season and 7th on the log, a former National Apprentice champion, liven up the place for Warren Kennedy. One of the most powerful riders around, the recipient of many accolades. Some can, some can't, but Marcon certainly can. Multiple South African champion, it's Marvelous Marcon. This crack pilot gets the job done with hard work and determination, hungry for success and having another outstanding season with over 74 winners. Let's hear the approval for Marco van Rensburg. This pleasant pilot is clearly at the top of his game. Riding doubleman for Justin Snaith today, he'll attempt to win his first Vodacom Durban July. Here's Corne Orfer. One of South Africa's fine young prospects. He holds a top 8 position on the national log with over 114 winners for the season. Show your appreciation for Ryan Munger. One of the best known names in the jockey ranks, talented and vastly experienced, and he knows the taste of Vodacom Durban July success. Going for his second win in the big one, it's the breathtaking Smongo Khumalo. Making his debut and steadily climbing up the jockey ranks. What a headline this would be in the Vodacom Durban July. Today he goes toe-to-toe with the best of them. Riding the filly Campharatus, liven up the place for Gareth Wright. With pride we salute the Vodacom Durban July Jockeys class of 2019. We'd also like to welcome the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sikla Zikalala. Thank you very much to all of our VIPs. And of course, the Vodacom Durban July will take place shortly.
Well, the jockeys are meeting the dignitaries, and fabulous to have not only the celebs, but some of our prominent politicians here at the races. And we recognise all of the who's who in South Africa come down for the big race. Well, of course, we've mentioned about Vodacom, we mentioned about fashion, and the Vodacom Red Fashion Showcase is happening, and we can rely on many keeping an eye on the best dressed folks.
Standing with Laduma, the man behind globally renowned label Maxhosa, and I'm just in awe of this man. I mean, internationally you're celebrated locally, but it's specifically because you don't stray away from your brand DNA. What is it about you that you think makes the world stand up as well as South Africans?
I absolutely think it's the brand DNA, because it is the aspect of the brand that stands out, that people noticed without actually knowing that it comes from South Africa or Africa. And also the fact that it's quite a new DNA in the fashion space makes people remember. Once they've seen it once, they remember when they see it again. For me, I've used that advantage since I started in 2010.
I absolutely love your fashion, and the thing is that every time I see your pieces, I know it's you, but you're always so innovative within that space. Now, of course, Vodacom Red comes to you and says, let's do a partnership. Tell us more about it.
They came to me early this year, and I got super excited because they are forward-thinking in terms of positioning their partners. I know even Vodacom Durban July that it is an opulent event. As an African luxury brand, it was a no-brainer that I want to do this with them and to grow my brand visibility, especially in Durban, and also get into the lifestyle of horses and new ideas as well, because I've taken from jockey wear as well to make some of the designs that I've been telling you about.
Now, one of the things I love about you is the fact that every time we see your pieces, we know it's you. But this time, they also tell you so many different things in terms of the themes, and you've got to come up with a collection of what you're going to do. How did you come up with this collection? The theme was Stars of Africa, but you changed it up a little bit. What was the theme given to you, and what inspired those individual looks?
The theme that we are given is Once Upon a Time in Africa. That was an easy one for me, I must say, because that is the benchmark that we've set for the brand, that we want to create an aesthetic that communicates how we project our future looking like. And some of the pieces that I actually took were from our signature design, but I twisted them in a way that if it's hot, you in a horse racing event and you want to feel cool, why don't you put straps and wear them as a dress? And if you want to wear a suit, wear it open without a shirt, or if you want to wear a poncho, you have an option of throwing a shirt underneath and just be free, and you don't have to be pristine like that.
I mean, Latuma, I'm looking at this collection here, which looks absolutely beautiful, the one you did for Vodacom Red. The outfit right there on the end, for me, looks like something Ricky Rick could wear. I definitely see him performing, walking out in his swag and something like that. That black and white one right next to it, though, I am coming for that dress. What inspired it? The weaving is so beautiful, Latuma.
The first suit was inspired by a jockey uniform. I simply took that pattern that is quite popular with the jockey pattern, and then blew it up at the bottom. The second one, which is a woven piece, was inspired by a tie weaving effect. As you know, I specialize in knitwear, but I studied textile design, so weaving was one of the things that I used to do at varsity, and I thought of twisting that design and did it in a red version as well.
No, Latuma, it looks absolutely awesome. I can't wait to play in your closet because it looks absolutely, absolutely stunning. Latuma, of course, is the creative head of Makosa, globally renowned fashion brand. So excited that he could be here, celebrating here at the Vodacom Durban July. You are watching SuperSport on your World of Champions. Neil, back to you.
Thank you, Minnie, and everybody looks magnificent today. There's the countdown clock, and the pressure starts to build. Well, it builds for everybody. It builds for trainers. It builds certainly for jockeys, Anthony, and that's what I want to talk to you about, because we're going to hear from Anton Marcus in a moment. We spent some time going out and talking to him about his chances this year. But from a man who's won 4 races, and on frequent occasions you've been on the favourite, the focus is always on you. As a jockey, on occasions like this, how do you deal with the pressure?
Well, you know, that's where you find the jockey with the BMT, the big match temperament. And as Anton is one of the boys that has got the big match temperament. He's won it 5 times. Yeah, it's a lot of nerves that goes into the race, especially when you're riding the favourite. Everybody expects you to win, and you want to win the race, you know. But, you know, the favourite couldn't have gone to a more man that knows how to win the race. He's got the big match temperament. He knows what it takes to win the race.
Ravon, it's interesting body language, and Anthony, myself, and you picked it up. Some nervous jockeys out there. Oddly enough, I found Warren Kennedy was huffing and puffing. We all said, so maybe it's because he's ridden so many winners. He rode 6 on Thursday. Yes. He's had a winner already today, and he's on a lively horse. We actually all think that Eyes Wide Open, on handicapping from his 3-year-old form, has a chance.
Absolutely. If you look at his run in the Cape Derby as a 3-year-old, that was in that race he actually beat Do It Again, and today he's getting weight from Do It Again. There's nothing stopping him, and he's also come well at the right time. I spoke to Glenn Cotson early on, and he said he's over his hemoconcentrating. He's got him back to his best. He's come into this race in a rich vein of form, and he's confident that Eyes Wide Open is going to run an absolute cracker this afternoon.
Well, he's going to have, amongst others, Do It Again, Richard Fourie this year, and Anton Marcus on Hawam, the favourite to beat. So let's take you to Anton Marcus, the man who has the responsibility of riding today's Vodacom Durban July favourite.
It's common knowledge that the Durban July is synonymous with South African racing. I mean, even for the man in the street, he doesn't know what side of a horse kicks. You know, he's aware of the Durban July, so it's a great race to participate in, and an even better race to win. I've been considerably lucky that I've crossed the line 5 times in front. So it's a race that I particularly enjoy.
Like in Formula One car racing, drivers jump from team to team. Same principle in horse racing. So last year I never had a stable jockey, so we used Anton Marcus because over the last few decades he's one of the best jockeys in the world.
Anton Marcus rides our horse this year. He rode the winner last year.
Anton Marcus, who was last year's winner on our horse Do It Again, has opted to ride Hawam, who is the favourite. But you know, in life we all make mistakes.
Hawam's had a great prep. I'm very happy with his performance and where he is going into the July. But in theory it is a handicap, so effectively giving the majority of the horse in the race an equal chance on paper. I'm very happy to be on his back, as I believe he's one of the better 3-year-olds in the country, and he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
This is Hawam's first Durban July. He's a young horse, he's a 3-year-old. He's a horse that almost walks like a leopard, you know. He's got a hell of an impressive walk, and he moves, you know, very, very well. He's extremely good, economically actioned horse.
Look, this is the July we're talking about, and it's a case of no quarter asked and none given. But you have to have the utmost respect for Do It Again and Rainbow Bridge. They're possibly the 2 best older weight for age horses in the country. They've been there, they've done it, and they're going to be tough nuts to crack.
So the most Durban July wins, of course, Anton Marcus. There he is, Harold Tiger right just below him. There's our own Anthony Delpesh. Mixed feelings for you today, Anthony. I know you'd love to be out there, but you know what? You've made your mark in history. And I've been talking to Robin Bruss, talking to Ravon all day, and we've been saying to our viewers that this is about writing your name in history, and your name is in there 4 times, and you certainly left your mark on this race.
Yeah, it's been a very great race for me, and racing has been very good to me. I've been very successful, and unfortunate accident, and obviously can't ride again, but miss it a lot. Would prefer to be out there rather than talking here. But yeah, racing has been very good for me, and I'm lucky to be still walking. You know, I had such a bad injury, and so I'm happy to be alive.
And we're blessed to have you on our broadcast, so I know it's a great loss for you, but it's a gain for us, I have to tell you, having all your experience, sitting on the couch talking to Ravon and myself. And that's what I wanted to ask you. This race is won frequently on split decisions made by a jockey. Do you chase? Do you hold back? Do you loop them? All of these factors. What do the jockeys think about when those gates open? Do you have a pre-race plan, or do you throw that out the window?
You have to have a plan. A lot of us have done a lot of homework, and you have to actually know before you go out there in the race. You pretty work out who's going to be in front of you and who's going to be behind you. And obviously, when it comes to a race, things might go wrong. As for Anton, he's drawn lovely.
Yes.
His horse sometimes doesn't come out well, so he's got to have 2 plans.
Yes.
You know, a lot of things can go wrong. We're dealing with animals here in a race. You've got to have the second plan in a race, but that's when it comes to the jockey that comes out on top, is the jockey that can make that right decision.
You know what, Anthony, I mentioned you've made your mark on this race, and we remember you fondly, but there's so many layers of a successful Vodacom Durban July, the media angle of it, and I wanted to touch today on the race calling, because of course, over the years in South Africa, race callers have called their way, the voices in the horse racing annals of fame. Next to me is Ravon, who's got a magnificent voice, very successful race caller. But of course, we're going to be called the race today by Craig Peters, who is calling. I spoke to him earlier on. We'll take that interview in a moment. But it's a big race day for the race caller. You cannot muck up this race. There are millions, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are going to be listening to you calling the race. You need to know your colours. You get nervous too.
Let me put it to you this way. If I don't do that, I should give up calling.
Yeah.
That is what I always say. And I can tell you, Craig is doing that as we speak. It is about painting the picture, making split-second decisions, and calling that result on the line without making any mistakes. And all that is between the finish line and the time they jump is you and a pair of binoculars. Absolutely. And you are watching each and every horse meticulously, exactly where they are placed. And when they turn for home, that is where you will have to make a decision as to who you think is going to win. And Craig has done a magnificent job over the last 34 years. I can't believe that he's been around that long.
No, neither can I. We're going to have a chat to him now because I took time out to pop upstairs a little bit earlier on and talk to Craig, who he told me is, believe it or not, calling something like his 34th Vodacom Durban July. Well, that is the Greyville track, the play area for many, and we've of course come to try and play up a few rand, win a little bit of money today. But for this man next to me, that's not the play area, that's the workplace, because Craig Peters is the man who calls the race for the Vodacom Durban July. And Craig, welcome. I want to honour you because you've called 34 of these Vodacom Durban Julys, 34 years.
That's correct. This will be my 34th July today, yes.
Well, it's incredible. Nerves, do you still get them?
I think everybody still gets nerves. You've got to have that blood pumping. It's the biggest race in Africa. And yes, you still get the nerves.
It's great to have you on the broadcast. 34 years is a long time. Take me through the memories. You and I were chatting earlier on. The Terence Millard years are very fond memories for you.
Indeed, because the crowd, when you call on track, I'm doing for SuperSport today, but when you do on track, every word they hang on to you. You raise your voice, the crowd's with you. They turn into the home stretch, the crowd's with you. And that year, Millard, he finished 3 out of the first 4. And I remember saying, and here comes Ilustrador. Another one was Royal Chalice. They said he wouldn't stay. He was a 3-year-old. 200 meters out, Felix picked him up and he just cruised away.
And what about those dead heats? They must have been thrilling.
Yes, Pocket Power and Dancer's Daughter. What a finish that was. And then Al Peter just beat Young Rack one of the years. It was also a terrific struggle, and it took 10 minutes for the judges to separate them.
It's brilliant. You've been part of the rich tapestry of this race. It's great to have you on board again. Tell the public what you fancy. What's going to win it?
Thank you very much. I think Do It Again is going to be hard to beat, but if you're looking for a roughie top 6 on the tote, Tilbury Fort.
Tilbury Fort, a roughie for Craig Peters. He's the voice behind SuperSport's coverage of the Vodacom Durban July. Yeah, that is The Voice, and interestingly enough, I'm actually going to the grand finale of The Voice tomorrow on Mnet. Can't wait, because like you, Ravon, there's some great singers out there. We're going to watch that unfold, the grand finale tomorrow on Mnet. So The Voice is behind it. Anthony, I want to ask you, when you're riding out there, can you hear do you hear the crowd responding? So when you hit the front on the 4 occasions you did, could you get a feeling that you were being called home by those that had punted your horse?
You're actually so switched off, you hear absolutely nothing. But that is most probably, if you're winning it quite easy going through most probably the last 100,
yes.
Then you do switch off a little bit, and then you hear the crowd. But there's so much adrenaline going into the race, while especially the last 400 meters, you don't really know there's anyone around. It's only the horses that's on the track and yourself.
So you're very much in the zone, as sportsmen say.
Well, I'm one of those jockeys that rode, and I'd walk around the parade ring. I switch into a zone. I wouldn't hear the crowd. I wouldn't hear anyone. It's just about my race today.
Well, what's interesting is we're now at a very important part of the day, Ravon, because we're going to see the horses come out, but in particular with Hawam. I documented a bit earlier on, Anthony, to our viewers, that he misbehaved and got into trouble in Johannesburg at a big Turffontein race. The expectations here are on the favourite, but he's basically a 3-year-old is a 17, 18-year-old kid, isn't it? He's still learning his trade. And it's going to be a big crowd today, so we'll watch him closely.
Yeah, he is. He's a horse that's got a little bit of quirk about him, and they've done a lot of work with him. They've got Milan here today.
Yeah.
The horse whisperer, supposed to be.
Yes.
He's going to be at the start with him. You know, actually for Anton being on the favourite, that's got a little quirk about him, must be a lot of pressure. It's not just about riding the race, it's keeping the horse quiet. And, well, it'll be interesting to see how he behaves today.
It's quite interesting, taking it completely away from talking about the favourite, I don't want to put any more added pressure on him, is there's quite a number of fillies in this race. We don't always have fillies having a go the Vodacom Durban July, but there's a mixed bag. So you've got the older fillies. Lady in Black, I think, represents O Susanna, who I've been saying to Rowan, I felt if O Susanna was in the race, she'd probably be quietly fancied off a decent weight. So the fillies might yet have a play. Unfortunately, we lost Fresnay, was scratched this morning, but there's a couple in the race.
Yeah, well, that brings a question to you. Justin didn't put O Susanna in, so obviously, how good is Do It Again?
Yes.
If he didn't think that she could beat Do It Again. You know, Lady in Black has always been behind those top fillies.
Yes.
I think she'll find it a little bit hard against the boys here, but you can never write them off. You know, as this race is, a lot of luck.
Absolutely, luck in running. The 3-year-old fillies represented, the 3-year-old generation of fillies represented by Pomodoro's daughter, Return Flight Ravon, who again is not without a chance. Low weight, 2 draw, that's critical.
And she's going to be one of those horses that's going to be there up front, just off the pace, or probably setting the pace. I think Head Honcho will be the horse that's likely going to make the pace, and she's going to be there for nothing from a number 2 draw. So she'll slot in just behind Head Honcho, and that's how she'll probably run her race all the way to the top of the straight. And then it's up to the jockey to decide which way he goes, in or out.
We're having a look at some of the horses. There's number 9, Divine Odyssey. And if you have a look at the form between Divine Odyssey and Hawam, it's interesting because when they met at the Turfendane Challenge race, Divine Odyssey actually gave 2.5 kilograms to Hawam, was carrying 60, now down 7 kilograms, and Hawam's only down 1.5. So again, Hawam, even just strictly on a line of form there, will probably have to improve. I suspect he has, but the 3-year-olds are improving probably quicker than the 4-year-olds.
Yeah, and he's also got a wide draw to overcome. I personally think that Divine Odyssey will really have to be at his brilliant best to be able to trouble the judge today. Just listening on course here, Hawam is out in front of the grandstand already, while the rest are making their way in. Right. So Mike de Kock had gotten permission from the Stripes. I can hear Sheldon calling him out. Well, there he is on the track.
Well,
and
Ravon,
he's going without a lead pony.
I want to tell you, this is why I got Ravon on the broadcast, because he predicted this. He said, and I'm not surprised, Anthony, I suppose you aren't either, because this takes him out of the real noise factor in the parade ring. He's out early. I must say, he looks beautiful, and his ears are pricked. Doesn't he look great? But now, of course, it's not that easy for him either. He's got to get down to the start. He's got 10-15 minutes of where he's got to behave.
Yeah, you got Anton. That's Anton's plan. You got the man that knows how to keep a horse quiet and everything to work into his favour. I'm sure he's done a lot of talking with Mike and deciding let's rather go before there's all that big noise and all the big vibe. So I'm sure when he gets down to the start, he's going to get off his back and keep him quiet. I think this is a very good idea what he's done. I think he's taken the heat off the horse with everybody being around and making the big noise. He looks very settled. He looks very relaxed. So I wouldn't be too concerned about his temperament today.
Yep, he's going down very well.
That's the best I've seen him. And of course, even on Gallop's Day, he was a little bit ahead of himself. That's the best I've seen him look for ages. Master Pan perhaps coming together. He's also, of course, going to benefit from a useful draw. So if you are on Hawam, and I actually mentioned to a couple of people all week, I said, watch the SuperSport broadcast, focus on how Hawam goes down. I'm giving him 10 out of 10, Ravon. He's gone down beautifully.
Absolutely. There's not even a drop of sweat on him. He looks magnificent. His ears was pricked. Anton took him very calmly down to the start. I think making him aware of his surroundings in the process, that there's lots of people around, but you're here to do a job. So let me get you to where you need to be, settle you down, walk him around behind the pens, and then get him ready for action.
Yeah,
like Anthony said, he's probably going to be a little bit slow away, but from the number 3 draw, I think it might even be in his favour.
Well, here's his stable companion, Anthony, the number 8 horse, this there on the left-hand side, Barahin. He's a son of Gimme the Green Light out of a Silvano mare. Muzi Yerni rides, and you know he's carrying only 53 kilograms. He gets 3 kilograms from his stable companion. I know Mike has put it out there saying that at times he feels the Barahin is probably Hawam's biggest danger. That's big talk.
Yeah, and the good thing for Bahrain today is Shenanigan came out early on and won.
Frank the form.
Frank the form. So it just shows you. I think he's a 3-year-old that's improving a lot. I think he's a big question mark for Mike. He doesn't really know how good he is. But as Mike has spoken, I think a horse like this, he hasn't had the perfect preparation to come into a race like this, to win a race. He would have liked to have had another run, but he says as fit as he can get him. I don't think he's a bad horse. I think he's a very smart horse. I think Mike thinks he's got a serious chance today.
And of course he's got a huge benefit, Ravon. If you look at the computer form and the form of this horse, he's been to Greyville twice. Bang, bang. He's won both starts at Greyville. It's a huge advantage being familiar with the circumstances, familiar with the track, and having won on the surface.
Correct, and also having won on this very day exactly a year ago. The Golden Horseshoe that we showed earlier on, that race was won by Barahin last year this day. So I think a year later, a year more mature, he's definitely going to be a horse that could come and upset his stable companion.
The Vodacom Durban July, Anthony, is so deep. Everywhere you look, there's horses with chances. We haven't even spoken about this horse, Rainbow Bridge. Gavin Larina-Rise, the winner of the Sunmet. If you look at his career, he's hardly put a foot wrong. And of course, he's the brother of Awam.
Yeah, I think he's a serious horse. I think he's had a great preparation coming to the race. My only concern was his last 2 runs he ran at Greyville. He hung in both times. But the thing that he's got in his favour today, he's got an inside draw, so he doesn't have to really worry too much about hanging in. He's going to be on the fence. He's going to get a good run. I think today he's going to get a better run than Do It Again. I mean, Do It Again drawn 10, he's drawn 4. He's going to be much closer than him. And I think if Do It Again gives him too much of a start, he could get away with it.
You know, it's incredible form, Ravon. I mean, the worst he's ever run is to be beaten 3 lengths by Do It Again in the Queen's Plate, which, of course, was probably a prep run for the Met, which he won. So, you know, he's never finished beyond 3 lengths behind, and when he did, that was Do It Again, and he's going down very well today. Got to be a big runner.
Absolutely. Half brother to Awam. You know, for 6 months prior to the Sunmet, I was preaching this horse to win the Sunmet, and he didn't disappoint me. In Cape Town, he hung out towards the stand side. In Durban, he's hung towards the inside. But the one thing I think that counts in his favour, Eric Sands has brought 1 horse to Durban. He's had 1 horse he's concentrated on, and that is Rainbow Bridge.
We just saw Do It Again coming out, leading the way. Richard Faree rides this year. Remember, Anton Marcus rode him last year, but Do It Again now is the defending champion. We've posited his chances already. Of course, this year he has to carry a whole much more amount of pudding. He's got top weight. He has to give weight even to the horse that beat him in the Sunmet. There he is, beautiful shot with him. I always find Do It Again, Anthony, is a very intelligent animal. His ears are always pricked. He's looking around him. He takes in his surroundings. What a fabulous racehorse. He's matured into such a wonderful 4-year-old.
He does. He looks like a professional, and I like his attitude today. Last time he ran, he was a bit above himself. He was playing up a little bit in the parade ring going down to the start. But he looks like a true professional. And, you know, sometimes as a jockey, you want to be riding those kind of horses. They tend to get you out of trouble too a little bit in a race. He looks picture perfect today.
He's got that ability to turn it on, this horse. He's got almost one of those buttons. You just press it and there is the instant acceleration. But as you say, from a 10 draw today, Anti's going to need it.
He's most definitely going to need all the luck in running. What surprises me is the fact that he's only had 1 run between the Sunmet and coming into the Vodacom Durban July. He is by far probably one of the best weight for age horses in the country.
There he is, Do It Again. Looks a picture as well. They'll turn and canter past. As I mentioned, you know, the hits just keep on coming because there are so many horses that you would have to say have a big chance of winning the race, never mind being competitive. We've shown you Awam, who went down to the start early. We've shown you Rainbow Bridge, who looked magnificent. Do It Again's ears are pricked. Now, I want to ask Anthony about this fella. Legal Eagle of 55 kilograms. If I told you that 18 months ago, you would have called me nuts. He's come tumbling down because he's probably not at his best, but of 55, he's going to think he's got loose.
Yeah, listen, he was the best horse around, but I think he's got 55 because he's lost his form, you know. He's getting a bit long in the tooth now.
But Ravon said it early on, and we say it in all sport, that talent, you know, ability is permanent, form is just temporary. If he can recapture his best of 55, he's going to make them run.
Yeah, he is, but what I always believe is a horse has got so much that it can give, you know, and there's young horses around that's coming up, so I think he's finding it a little bit hard. Listen, I don't think he's a horse you can write off. I think this is why the July is a fantastic race. That's why the punters can have a bet. Now he's coming with the weight. Take a chance.
Take a chance. There we go. This is the fella, eyes wide open. If you go back to the Cape Derby of January 2018, which is not that long ago, he beat Do It Again fair and square. Both carried 60 kilograms. He beat him by as much as 1 3/4 lengths. Today, he gets 7 kilograms. That's the positive. The negative is, as Anthony mentioned, Ravon, he had lost a bit of his form, and he now has to get over an 18 draw. But to end off this onto another positive, he's ridden by Warren Kennedy, who's going to ride the stable cat to victory shortly.
Absolutely.
He can't stop winning.
He is in such devastating form. He's probably the most informed jockey of all of them riding in this year's Vodacom Durban July. Glenn Cotson is confident, but for the draw of 18, I think he's got an outside chance of coming to to sort of upset the apple cart if one wants to look for a roughie.
Well, here's one of my roughies in the race, Lady in Black. Think she's just a nice filly going down to the start. What is she going to be worth when she goes to stud? She's a daughter of Dynasty out of a Jetmaster mare, and she's run to the best. But as Anthony said, probably not quite as good as Oh Susanna. She was a length and a half behind. There's the 3-year-old Barahin with Muzi Yeni. Oh, Anthony looks well, eh?
He looks very well. He's going down. He is pricked. He looks. He's a horse that I think there's a lot of question mark about him. They don't really know how good he is.
Number 12, you gave him a bit of a sneak. Made to Conquer, who ran second last year. Mark Kahn rides. Here's number 11, Eyes Wide Open, also going down well. I have to say, Anthony, I haven't seen a horse going down disappointingly yet. I mean, even Tilbury Fort, who of course won the Summer Cup in Johannesburg, going down maybe a little bit keen, but they all look in perfect condition. This, I think, is the filly. Who are going down, you won't see the number, but it's probably number 18, Miyabi Gold, on the far side there. And going down, of course, with Samanga Kamala, who's won this race before.
Yeah, Samanga, he's a top jockey. Only thing is something horses go out of form. He's gone a little bit out of form at the moment.
Yes.
He's not riding as many winners as he should be riding. He's a real top jockey, and it's a little bit disappointing to watch him not riding as many winners. But if you ever want a good jockey on your horse, you've got one of the best jockey around.
And what a time to come back into form, Ravon, by winning the Vodacom Durban July. This is Campharatus, who has got a dodgy draw of 14, but on some of the best form behind Eyes Wide Open. And others might be a bit of a lurker, maybe in the back end of Quartets. It'd be a big shock if she won the race.
It would indeed. And Gareth Wright was one of those jockeys we commented that looked extremely nervous coming out and standing on the podium. But the lead pony is assisting in taking Campharatus down to the start. I don't think we can fault any of them in the manner in which they had made their way down to the 2,200 meter mark. It's all in the melting pot now, as they would say. May the best one win.
Well, I can't separate them on looks. I have to say that everybody was well behaved, but purely from Hawam's point of view, Anthony, any problems or question marks the punters might have had about his temperament seems to have been answered so far. Paraded early, went down beautifully.
He behaved very well, and they worked out the tactics very well early part of before the race starts, to go down early before the big crowd and all the noise, and he looked spot on. Listen, if I was a man that's back to favourite, I wouldn't be worried now. I'd be very happy. He went down, one of the best horses going down. And so now it comes to the race, how he jumps out the gates and where he gets into a position.
Well, of course, this race is very much about horses and trainers and jockeys, but it's the lifeblood for the punters. They come every year to tip the Vodacom Durban July and make some money. Are they on the favourite? Are they on the second favourite? Are they looking for a big shock? Well, Minnie's been out and about talking to some of our punters and find out what they're putting their hard-earned ront on.
Our African stars are here looking absolutely amazing, but we cannot forget the real reason why we're here. It is, of course, for the horses. What is your name?
My name is Kumaran Pillai.
And your name, sir?
Sunal Umrao.
Now, I see you guys are ready. You've got the books, you've got your pens. I can see you guys are serious bettors. Who are we betting on for the first race, for the main race?
It's Made to Conquer today. Made to Conquer and Legal Eagle.
And yourself?
Number 6 all the way, Twist of Fate.
What goes into choosing which horse wins?
You got to look at the form of the horse, the weight they're carrying, the draw they have, and you choose from there.
What about past events like this? Does that count?
The past events definitely count. It depends on the horse. If it ends at Gravel, then it'll obviously suit it to the course, and they'll stand a good chance to win.
Okay, well, all the best for your horses. The main race is almost there. Let's see if these gentlemen will get their money's worth.
Thank you.
The horses are down at the start. We're waiting for the national anthem, of course, which is an addition to the Vodacom Durban July that is well received. We love being patriotic South Africans, and this is, after all, not only South Africa's biggest race, but Africa's biggest race. So we like to show off and fly off South African flag. Anthony, Lyle Hewitson is off to Hong Kong, a place where you had great success. Vengeance of Rain, one of your favourite horses that you teamed up with. It's going to be fascinating for Lyle to go over there. Aldo de Meijers riding well there at the moment. South African jockeys, and you lead that field, have had so much success internationally.
Yes, our jockeys can hold their own anywhere in the world, and it's a great opportunity for Lyle as a young boy now. to be getting the opportunity to go to Hong Kong. And you know, racing is very, very competitive. Things are done a little bit more different than here. But I wish him all the best, and I think he's got the talent to fly the South African flag very high.
Well, of course, it's been a long time since we had an apprentice. Apprentice actually win the title. I think you have to go back to Michael Roberts back in his day. I know Anthony rode bazillions of winners when he was a younger man, but he set a new standard, Lyle Hewitson, so we wish him well.
Yeah, I think he's going to do exceptionally well, and he's also going to have support in terms of other South African jockeys that are there. Dougie White, that's just retired, that's now a trainer, will no doubt be looking after him. Grant van Niekerk is another one that is in Hong Kong at the moment. Aldo de Meyer has been booting home the winners, so he's going to be in very good company amongst fellow compatriots. But I can tell you now, against the likes of Zach Purton and Joe Moreira, he's going to learn so much, and I think when he comes back from there, he's going to be such a mature jockey that he's going to be in so much demand when he returns to South Africa after his stint in Hong Kong.
Okay, we're going to take a look at those horses down at the start. We're just waiting for the national anthem to be played, and we'll take you to that live. Horses down at the start, well, they all got down there safe and sound, and we'll have a look at some of those down there. I'm interested if our cameraman down there can find horse number 6, Twist of Fate, who we didn't have a look in the preliminaries. He's got a bad draw of 17 to come. I believe the blinkers have been put on this horse, which fascinates me because he went up very handy in the Daily News, Anthony. But what he did do was keep Hawam very honest. So he only got beaten a length and a half. For that length and a half, he's 2 kilograms better off. If something does go wrong with Hawam, he doesn't run his best race, this horse, Twist of Fate, shouldn't be that far behind.
I like him. I think he's a horse that wherever Hawam is going to be, he's not going to be too far behind. But it's a big thing to have made a decision to put the blinkers on first time in July. But Joey works with the horse every day. He knows the horse very well. Listen, if the blinkers is going to improve him, then he'll be on top of Hawam at the end. I think he's going to get into a lovely position. I think he's a horse that likes to be handy. So I think if the blinkers works for him today, so he could be the winner.
Okay, milling around down at the start. The pace of the race, Ravon and Anthony. Where is that going to come from? Because Head Honcho, I'm thinking of the Sunmet. Head Honcho went a blazing gallop. Looked like he'd gone too fast. In the end, he very nearly stole the race. Will he try the same tactics today?
It will be between Head Honcho and Return Flight. But just before I talk about the pace, have you ever seen Hawam that relax behind the starting pins before a big race? I've never seen him that calm, and Anton Marcus has done a remarkable job in keeping him that way behind the pins. Coming back to the pace of the race, Head Honcho, as far as I'm concerned, he's probably going to go straight to the front. Return Flight will sit in second. It's going to be interesting to see where Mark Kahn is going to place Made to Conquer, because Made to Conquer is one of 3 or 4 horses owned by Nick Johnson in this race. So Made to Conquer might just be there in order to set the pace as well. There's certainly not going to be a lack of pace in this race. So Head Honcho, to me, there he is in the familiar Platinum Silks. The one to go and set the pace, and the one, if they give him a soft lead, is going to be the one they're all going to have to come and catch in the home straight. Because if he's going to kick away in the straight, they're really going to have to pick it up to come and get him.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's got a little bit too much pudding. Drawn 19, but I think he's going to be one of the kingmakers perhaps in the race, because the pace of the race is very important. At times we've seen a crawl here, Anthony. I don't see that happening today. But it can happen. I mean, last year's race was fascinating. You and I did that race, and you remember that African Night Sky had to loop them 5 wide while going up the hill, and whatever chance I felt he had that day was then negated. We've got the national anthem, so Anthony will come back and answer that question. Let's go to the national anthem.
South Africa, South Africa.
Well, it's fantastic to have a big crowd in here, massive crowd singing the national anthem, and a wonderful rendition of it here at the 2019 running of the Vodacom Durban July. Well, the horses are down at the start, Anthony, and this is where, of course, all of those last laid plans, well, they're put to rest. You make a decision on what you're going to do, but as you said, when the gates open, you might have to readjust that. We were just, before we went to the national anthem, talking about the pace of the race. Nobody knows what the pace is going to be until that gate is open and the race unfolds.
Yes, you're 100% right, but this year it looks like we're going to have a bit of a pace on. Head On Show is quite a keen horse. He looks a little bit above himself. I'm sure he's going to have to go and show the way. And I think Justin, having made a conquer in the race, having the favourite in the race, he's going to make sure that the pace is on. It's going to suit Do It Again. Do It Again doesn't want a slow run race. Yeah, I think definitely this year we'll have a good pace. This is, as a jockey walking around the pens now, just before you go in, this is the most important part of a race. It's win or lose. It's like when you're in a Grand Prix, you've got to get that best start, and everyone wants to come out well, and the concern is hopefully your horses settle in the gates and they're not too worked up. So this is probably the most important part of a race for a jockey.
Okay, well, it's time for us to go and take them. They are starting to load. Oh, there's one of the horses on the far side getting a little bit excited. Let's see if we can see who that was for you. Ravon, did you spot the colours there?
Divine Odyssey.
Divine Odyssey just getting a little bit hot under the collar. And this, of course, is what happens on Vodacom Durban July Day. Even Do It Again is getting a little bit fractious there. You can see him proving a little bit awkward, and Divine Odyssey likewise. So this is what we said, and this is probably not good news for Hawam, because if he sees any of this going on, he's going to get excited. But Craig Peters is our man up there, calling his 34th Vodacom Durban July. Craig, I'm going to call you in. Do your best. You're always brilliant. Take us through the drama, the action, and the excitement of the 2019 Vodacom Durban July.
Thanks very much, Neil. Yes, just to let you know that Hawam, when I did the jockey's introduction, Anton came into the parade ring without a stick, and he went down without a stick. There was a lead pony that took him to about 20 metres before the winning post, and then they left Anton on his own. He'll obviously pick up his crop at the gate, and this is Divine Odyssey, who's giving a bit of problems at the gate. Luckily is now going into the stalls, so they didn't need the hood, and Kelvin Habib will now mount up on Divine Odyssey. So Divine Odyssey has now gone into the gates. The other runner was Do It Again. Richard Fourie is back on board, and here comes Twist of Fate. Twist of Fate is in, Doublemint's in, Made to Conquer's in, Do It Again is ready. Here's Barron who walks up. Barron is in the red cap. Roy Had Enough steps up to the gate. Roy Had Enough is in. Eyes wide open to an outside gate. Legal Eagle about to step up. He knows what it's all about. He's another one, though, that can be a little bit problematic at the gate. He's been there many times, but he's always a little bit hesitant. And Legal Eagle is now stepping up in the 4 at R250,000 Rand Vodacom Durban July. Here's the filly, Lady in Black. Lady in Black goes in. Tilbury Fort, the next one. Tilbury Fort into pole position. 2,200, 4.25 Rand. Vodacom Durban July as Head On Show goes into an outside gate. And we wait for Hawam still to come in with Rainbow Ridge. Rainbow Bridge is sweating up quite heavily, as you can see that gate. Number 2, rather, that's Rainbow Bridge. And Hawam is now about to come forward. One of the last to load is Hawam. Return Flight is in. Here's Hawam. There's the top shot. A little bit restless in those gates. Rears now. And Anton's on the side of the gate. So Hawam, they're going to back it out, I presume. That's your favourite, Hawam. So let's just see now when it comes back in, or they're going to examine it. Hawam went up. So there we go, just been trotted around by Milan. He's the horse whisperer, and let's see what's going to happen this time. They're going to take it up to the gate. He's just been examined. This is the vet in the suit. Your favourite, Hawam. So let's see if it gets past fit to race. All right, so Campharatus still waits its turn. And let's just see what's happening here with Hawam. Here's the vet examining Hawam. It's looking at its mouth, the mouth area. The other runners are in the gate. So let's just see what the position is. That's your favourite Hawam for the Vodacom Durban July. Campharatus just milling around at the back of the gates. Right. Number 4 has been scratched. Hawam is withdrawn from the Vodacom Durban July. We didn't need this. Unfortunately, Hawam gets scratched. They're back in the whole field now out of the Vodacom Durban July. And there's a very, very dejected Anton Marcus. He was aboard Hawam and obviously injured and gets scratched from the Vodacom Durban July. Was the last horse to load and just became problematic. So number 4, Hawam, is the scratching in the Vodacom Durban July. So Neil, I don't know if you and Ravon and Anthony want to take it away for a couple of minutes.
Yes, thank you so much, Craig. Well, you want to break into tears, really, for all concerned, for Mike de Kock, for Anton Marcus, and Anthony also, I have to say, for the owners, because Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum has supported South African racing. He's got the favourite for our biggest race, and he behaved so well down to the start, but you just felt he reared up in the starting stalls.
Yeah, he's done everything right. He behaved so well, and you know how much time and how much effort has gone to get this horse here. It must be very, very disappointing, not just for the jockey, but the trainer. I mean, at the end of the day, they do all the work to get the horse here, and yeah, this breaks your heart. And you don't want to be seeing the favourite getting scratched in a race. And now the biggest thing is for every other horse that has to come out of the gate, how they react to it, how they behave, and which horse takes too much out of themselves. So it's up to the horse now that's more relaxed and more chilled back. So now the race can be changed a lot.
It can, and what was interesting, there's Anton. I feel so badly for Anton. You know, he's gone out on a limb to take the ride. He could have ridden perhaps a couple of others in the race, but that's just racing, and he's talking to the vet there. But I have to say, Ravon, that in this situation, and Anton's going to be bitterly disappointed, and Anthony, you'll agree with me here, is the horse's welfare is the most important thing. The veterinary decision is probably the right one. If there's even a question mark that this horse is not fit to run, because he's got his whole career in front of him, and you know, if the veterinary decision is that he's got blood in his mouth or he's not ready to run, then the right decision's been made.
Absolutely, it's all about the horse. The horse comes first. That is it. No one else but the horse matters here. As disappointed as Anton is, you can see by his body language, I think the best call was made. The vet made the call. He had a look at the horse. He wasn't happy with the way the horse had reared. He probably just saw something wrong. And now, as Anthony said, with everyone else being backed out of the stalls, yes, it is to give patrons an opportunity to restructure whatever bets they've taken on this year's Vodacom Durban July. But there are a couple of horses that's really sweating up behind the pens.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Rainbow Bridge we saw as well, there was a bit of sweat. By the way, what time are Bafana kicking off? Because we need to run this race, of course. We've got them playing Egypt later on. I think we'll be fine. It's 9 o'clock kickoff. We should be fine. So we'll obviously bring you the race as soon as they get back in. But yes, even before Hawam, there were a few horses getting hot under the collar there, Anthony. So I think you're spot on. The horse that has the best temperament here and isn't flustered by being backed out of the gates, big plus for him or her.
Yes, there's a lot of adrenaline pumping now, not just in the jockeys, but in the horse. It's you're almost ready to pull the trigger, and you have to go back and wait for everything else. And temperament is definitely going to call, and you're going to get some horses that's really got too worked up, and they've left their race behind. So I think as a punter, there's opportunities now to go and choose something else. Just see what's
I'm just looking there if there's any justice, and it doesn't always work this way. But Barahin, who's the stable companion, same owners, same trainer, looked very well, and
Yes.
you know, he was always, I felt, in with a chance anyway, even if Hawam was in the race. So maybe they'll be shouting home the silks of Hawam, just a different horse.
He looks very relaxed behind the pens. I think he's a very laid-back horse, and you know, wouldn't it be lovely for Mike? I mean, seeing the favourite out, maybe Bahrain will come and do them justice.
Well, he looks
very relaxed, and Muzi's trotting him around to warming up and to let him know that this is time to go again. And yeah, it's now the race has changed a little bit, the pattern has changed a little bit. And also the jockeys, when they're walking around, the adrenaline is going, and they just want to get in that gate and jump out. And well, here they go again, and hopefully everything will work out.
Exactly. Anthony, thank you so much. Ravon Smith, thank you so much. Let's get back to Craig Peters. If you've just joined us, we're about to race the 2019 Vodacom Durban July, but the breaking news is that Hawam, the favourite, has been withdrawn at the start. We race without the favourite. Let's get back to Craig to call them back in.
Thanks, Neil. As Legal Eagle now steps up, Byron Muzieni's looking over his shoulder. Do It Again went in calmly this time. Head Honcho stepping up. Twist of Fate is going forward. Eyes Wide Open. Eyes Wide Open, the red sleeves and cap. Lady in Black still to come forward. Mayabi Gold, the white cap. Legal Eagle are there around it. 4.25 million rand. Vodacom Durban July. Legal Eagles up to the gate just to straighten him up now. There's the rugby scrum as they try. Legal Eagle, he goes in now. Legal's Eagle is in. Lady in Black stepping up. Royad Enough is in. Divine Odyssey. Head Honcho's gone in. Rainbow Bridge still being wiped down. This Rainbow Bridge goes in. Here comes Campharatus. One of the last is Campharatus. 2200 Vodacom Durban July. They're on their way in the Vodacom Durban July. Legal Eagle was slow to go from that 2200 meter. Let's see how they play this one. Return Flight is right there. Lady in Black has a good position. Made to Conquer's got the pink cap. A couple of riders looking around to see who's going to make the running. Twist of Fate is 2 off the right, and Head Honcho the extreme right hand side. Double Mint is in behind them. They're followed by Tilbury Fort and Rainbow Bridge. Then comes Eyes Wide Open. Do It Again's giving them about 7 or 8 lengths start. They're not going quick though. And further back, Campharatus, then Mayabi Gold, Divine Odyssey. Byron's got about 12, 13 lengths to make up. Then Legal Eagle and Roy Had Enough's the trailer. They're absolutely crawling as they go to the 1200 meter marker. Return Flight by 1 length. Head Honcho is second. At the railers, Twist of Fate back in third. Made to Conquer's fourth. Then Lady in Black. Double Mint, Rainbow Bridge. Then Tilbury Ford. Eyes Wide Open. Roy Had Enough. Do It Again is on the inside. And then comes Campharatus. Behind that, Mayabi Gold, Divine Odyssey, Baron. Legal Eagles, the trailer, about 12, 13 lengths off the leader. The Vodacom Durban July heads to the 900 and Return Flight, the leader. Head Honcho's back second, Twist of Fate's third. Made to Conquer and Lady in Black travelling together. Rainbow Bridge in a perfect place, about 6 lengths off the leader. Double Mint is on the outside. Then comes Eyes Wide Open and Tilbury Ford. Do It Again's got about 8 to go with Roy Had Enough. Divine Odyssey, Campharatus. Then comes Mayabi Gold. Behind that one, Baron and Legal Eagle. Top of the stretch as they turn for home. Head Honcho the leader. Return Flight, Twist of Fate. Tilbury Fort down the inside. Double Mint, Do It Again. Eyes Wide Open. Rainbow Bridge between runners. Coming out of the 300. Rainbow Bridge the leader. Twist of Fate and Do It Again's coming out of the wall. Do It Again and Rainbow Bridge over the last 100 meters. Twist of Fate between the two of them. Rainbow Bridge and Do It Again. Absolute thriller, but Do It Again has done it again. Second, Rainbow Bridge. Twist of Fate. Eyes Wide Open and Mayabi Gold. But Do It Again rose to the occasion again. And the twice over makes it back-to-back victories. Richard Fourie, Justin Snaith, win number 7 from the 13, and what a race it was. They went a slow pace. There was no pace on, and you would have noticed that Richard Fourie woke his mounts up well before the stretch, and here he comes again to get Rainbow Bridge. They have a terrific struggle. What a result this. Rainbow Bridge and Do It Again, and Do It Again will end up winning it and wins it by about a neck or so. Second, Rainbow Bridge. Twist of Fate, number 6, will run third. The fourth position will go to the horse nearest us, Eyes Wide Open, and then number 18, Mayabi Gold. Campharatus, what a run. Roy Had Enough, Divine Odyssey. There's about 4 lengths covering the first 7 horses. Then Double Mint with the gold cap. gap. Lady in Black then head on show. Baron, Tilbury Fort, and then came Made to Conquer in the Vodacom Durban July. Your winner, 3 or 4 off the right-hand side, stick in the left hand in the all yellow silks, and yeah, being punched out by Richard Fourie, comes to get Rainbow Bridge with the red sleeves. They have a terrific struggle. Rainbow Bridge won't throw in the towel, but Do It Again just continues to fight on, and Do It Again, there's the salute from Richard Fourie, and they win it from Rainbow Bridge. A terrific struggle, and what a pity there had to be a loser. Looking at it from this angle, the yellow silks, there's the salute, Richard Fourie, and they pick up this first purse of 2.5 million in the Vodacom Durban July. So Do It Again is victorious, cracking run from Rainbow Bridge as we look at it from another angle, and Twist of Fate also a very, very good run. That's the running of this year's Vodacom Durban July, and there is the lead-in. The lead-in will be on the track. The interview is about to take place, and here's the lead-in. Yeah.
Victory with 60 kilograms on his back, but he's managed to do it. His beautiful son of Twice Over, Richard Fourie, the jockey that's booted him home. Very, very sad for Anton Marcus, but I'm sure you're delighted for the Snape family and Bernard Cantor, Nancy, and of course none other than Nick Johnson.
Oh, very much so. It's about time I can do my own victory lap. I didn't have that luxury in 2014, but you know, this horse is just simply remarkable, and he's done it again.
Well, we asked Justin Slace, had this horse improved 6 kilograms? The answer is right here.
Yeah, well, it's not if he's improved 6 kilos. He's just forever improving. He's such a smart horse. He's very intelligent, and most of all, he's got big match temperament.
Well, I think let's take a walk down to the winners' enclosure. Raf has been able to tell us that it's time to clear the runway for this incredible son of Twice Over, Sir Henry Cecil's favourite horse ever. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Fourie, Do It Again, has done it again!
Well, the scenes are wonderful for those connected with this marvellous horse. We pointed out the fact that he'd matured so beautifully from a 3-year-old to a 4-year-old, from being a sort of gangly teenager, Anthony Delpesh, to being the real deal. And now, well, the world's his oyster, because I know you always fancied him. He's delivered.
Yeah, he's the horse I always thought would win. Obviously, he's shown you how much he's improved. He's had to improve a lot, and he's shown you he's definitely the best horse around in the country. Richard gave him a peach of a ride. He had him onto the fence, and then at the 600 he decided to come off the fence, gave him a clear run, and he just shows you he's definitely the best horse around at the moment.
Well, of course, it proves just how much he has improved, Ravon, from a 3 to a 4-year-old, because last year Made to Conquer was just behind him, and he's absolutely smashed Made to Conquer out of the weights. So he's proven how much of an improved 4-year-old he is through that line, but also through the Derby line of Eyes Wide Open, where he was beaten a length and 3/4 by him on level weights. Now he's given Eyes Wide Open a real thumping, plus 7 kilograms. I mean, he has become, as I say, the real deal.
No doubt the horse that will be crowned the Equus Horse of the Year come the middle of August. He has certainly improved leaps and bounds since he won the Vodacom Durban July last year. Funnily enough, on Thursday night, when I arrived here at Greyville, when they did the panel discussion, Justin was one of the first people I bumped into. And we said, Justin, what do you think? Justin says, I'm not here to run second. I think we need to spare a thought for the connections of Awam. Had Awam been in the race, I would hesitate to think what the result could possibly have been.
Well,
knowing how well he was turned out, knowing how well he behaved, except for that little rear in the gates.
Well, we'll never know as we look at the official result. Do It Again beats Rainbow Bridge. Twist of Fate. I'm going to come back to him because that's the answer, I believe, to the question there, Ravon.
Yep.
Eyes Wide Open did his best work late to get into 4th, just in front of the filly, by the way, who was number 18, Miyabi Gold. But Twist of Fate kind of represented Hawam in this race. Remember, we said there wasn't much between them in the Daily News, and today he was getting 2 kilograms. So if I was to guess, and it's a guesswork, of course, I would think that Hawam would have been just in front of Twist of Fate. But the truth of the matter is, Do It Again really won well, Anthony, because he had to come out and fetch Rainbow Bridge, who'd laid down the gauntlet. But I don't think you can take anything away from Do It Again. I think perhaps my thought process is, and we never know, Hawam's in the race. From what I saw, I think he'll still beat Hawam.
It's very difficult to say. You know, you don't want to take the gloss away from Do It Again, but you look at Twist of Fate run third. I mean, it's probably a length and a half behind, and Hawam really he beat Twist of Fate pretty easy last time. Yeah, it's just very sad for...
Well, we'll never know unless they meet again. And you're right, of course, because the strange thing about Hawam today, and we pointed out, he looked so within himself, so comfortable on the way down to the sod. Ravon, you pointed out you hadn't seen him more comfortable. And yet just that little bit of... I think it might have been the other horses that were more fractious. We saw Divine Odyssey, who was the one playing up, and that might have just triggered him and made him a little bit more sensitive in the gates, which led him to rearing.
Could possibly have been the case, because it was a long time for them to have circled around behind the gates, and then all of a sudden something may have spooked him down at the start. But Do It Again really came through with a scintillating victory. I mean, Rainbow Bridge had got first run on him. Coming past the 200, he was in front, and it was Do It Again that had to do the catching, and he caught him with each and every stride and got up to win going away.
Okay,
I
folks.
think Do It Again, to me, now deserves to be Horse of the Year again.
Okay, well, he very well might be. We're going to go to a brief break. When you come back, we'll get reactions to Do It Again's follow-up victory in the Vodacom Durban July. Spoke to Robin Bruss earlier on. He felt that if he had made the necessary improvement, he could do it again. He has. We'll be back with reaction after this. Okay, nice.
Wow, well done.
Well, welcome back. We're in the parade ring, and out in front of the grandstand is Do It Again, the champion for the Vodacom Durban July, who's defended his title, and he's defended it in smashing style. Of course, it's not his fault if Hawam didn't run, so, and frankly, I'm sure Justin Snaith doesn't really care much about that, because he's won the race, and what a horse he's become. Fabulous, of course, for the owners. Mr. Nick Johnson, Bernard Cantor, and the late Jack Mitchell, who we lost a couple of months ago. He was a stalwart of racing. It's uncanny how often this happens in horse racing. We lose one of the gentlemen of the turf, and somewhere up there he's looking down and ensuring that his racehorse comes and performs well. And in this case, Do It Again has once again defended his title. So, Ravon, we remember the Mitchell family, but congratulations also to Bernard Cantor and to the Johnsons.
Yes, and Nancy Hosak, his daughter, will be here to ensure that his legacy lives on. She's just as passionate about horse racing as her father was, and I think a deserved winner of the 2019 Vodacom Durban July. The manner in which he picked it up in the straight, the way he came to fetch Rainbow Bridge, shows you how he has improved year on year, coming back to defend his title.
Anthony, there was a move in the race. The beauty of us getting to watch the race, Ravon, with Anthony is he's saying, you know, the moves. And Richard Fourie was on the fence for a lot of the race, but he made a move as they started to turn for home, just to ease out, one assumes, to get a clear run. It might have been a race-winning move.
Definitely a race-winning move. Obviously, he saw what is in front of him, and he obviously knew those horses are not going to pull him through until the race, through the straight. So he thought, let me get a clear run. He's a big action horse, and you know, a horse like that, you can lose a race by a split decision, and he's made the right decision. I think it's a great jockey's ride. I think he's become a very good jockey in the big race.
Yes.
But for Justin Snaith also, he's become a big trainer now, and I mean, to bring a horse like this, and he brought him with one run before the race, he's become a very serious trainer in these big races.
Absolutely, high praise indeed, and I think correctly placed. Rainbow Bridge, the second horse, gave an excellent performance in defeat. I don't think they can be disappointed with that. An honest run from him, but just beaten by Do It Again on the day. Well, Lala is out there, and she's got some reaction from the punters. I don't know what kind of a result it was for them, but we'll find out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the reactions from the crowd here today have been absolutely fantastic as those horses crossed the finish line. And I heard a lot of cheering and loudness from here. Hi, guys! A lot of happiness, a lot of cheering and clapping. Number one, did you bet on the winning horse?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yes.
Why not? So you guys have all won money. Have you won some money today?
Yes, I have.
Congratulations.
Did it again.
He really did it again. Anybody else, good sir, have you?
Yes, he's a champion, true champion, 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. How about you, sir? Did you bet on the winning horse?
Yes. Well done to Richard Ferry. I backed him.
There you go. A lot of positive reaction over here on the ground. It's been a fantastic afternoon. We'll be back with more reactions from the crowd here at Greyville Racecourse.
Well, frequently in a race like the Vodacom Durban July, there's probably a long list of sad stories. I, to be honest, don't see too many, apart from obviously Hawam, Anthony, which was unfortunately withdrawn at the start. But it looked like actually a pretty straightforward race. The pace maybe early on wasn't the quickest, but there didn't seem any bad bulking or anybody get a particular bad run.
No, I don't think it's a luckless race. I don't think you can say any horses was unlucky in the race. I didn't think, I thought they'd go a little bit quicker than that. But I think the pace was a constant pace. I don't think there's any hard luck stories. I think great riding from Richard. It just shows you the form between Rainbow Bridge and Do It Again again. I think if you look at the Met, maybe Do It Again was a little bit unlucky on the day. So I don't think there's too much between the two of them. At the end of the day, it's luck in riding. And today, Do It Again, great ride. Richard deserves the win.
Well, Ravon, I think Anthony might be right there. And you know, I told you we had Felix Coetzee actually on our broadcast down in Cape Town, Anthony. And he said on the day, he just thought perhaps Do It Again got a little bit far back in the running. If anything, this form probably franks it. But you never know, luck in running's important. But Do It Again, whatever happened, he set the record straight today.
Absolutely. And no doubt that he is by far now the best horse in the country in terms of his record that we can now look at on paper. Unfortunately, we're all wondering now, had Hawam run? But it's water under the bridge. We'll spare thought for the connections of Hawam, but Do It Again has certainly proved that he is up there with the best. The question now is, does he stay in South Africa or will he go for an international career?
Yeah, well, he certainly nailed his colours to the mast locally for sure. I mean, he's followed up some remarkable performances with a back-to-back win in the Vodacom Durban July. We showed you early on in the broadcast, that is a rarity. That does not happen in this game because it's a handicap. And to shoulder top weight as he has done and give all his opponents a beating just shows you how he's improved from a 3-year-old when he won and to now as a 4-year-old where he's won the race again. We've got that slow-mo to show you, and here he is, Do It Again. Richard Ferry, the man on board, waving at the crowds. What a magnificent performance from him. Very calm, cool and collected, and as Anthony pointed out, perhaps that race-winning move was when he just eased him off the fence. I think Lady in Black and a couple of others were in front of him, so he had to come around them. And by then, Rainbow Bridge was on his bicycle, to be fair. Rainbow Bridge had got to clear. In fact, at the 300, Anthony, we thought that Rainbow Bridge perhaps had just made his own race-winning move because he definitely got clear of the field.
Yeah, Gavin rode a great race on Rainbow Bridge. And I thought if he had his chance to beat Do It Again was today. He rode the perfect race. He got away from Do It Again. I just think at the end of the day, Do It Again is definitely the better horse.
I think it's spot on. We can't say there's any bad luck, sad luck stories here. Word for Twist of Fate. I must say that Joe Ramsden put on the blinkers and it certainly didn't deter his performance. He ran a very honest race for the 3-year-old in the race.
Absolutely. Joey was actually, trying to get your attention, waving at you.
Oh, was he?
He's actually in a very good mood. He's taken a walk towards the other side of Greyville Racecourse, and I think he must be elated with the run.
Well, maybe he left us some aeroplane tickets to get over to Singapore, where we can all go and visit him, because he's, of course, moving locations. There is the scenes. Bernard Cantor on the left, Nick Johnson behind Richard Ferry, of course, and the master. Justin Snaith with his father, of course. And there, Robin Bruss, who we spoke to earlier, and I'm very pleased that I made the move to approach Robin and say to him, I want to talk to you because your horse has got a chance of actually pulling off the double. And we were spot on there. So these, of course, are the celebrations. The trophies will be handed out, and Do It Again, a courageous and worthwhile winner. Well, folks, that's it from us here at the Vodacom Durban July. We thank everybody for being part of the broadcast. I want to thank Anthony Delpesh for coming in. Anthony, always a pleasure to have you here. And I know you were bullish about Do It Again, so you were spot on.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on the show. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's always good to see the best horse in the race win, and I think Do It Again was definitely the best horse today, and it's fantastic for the punters out there.
Ravon, thank you for your wonderful dulcet tones and for joining us.
It's been an absolute pleasure being here. I was just actually sitting and thinking now, a friend of mine back in Cape Town, for the last couple of weeks has been preaching non-stop that come 4:30 on Saturday afternoon, he's changing this horse's name to Done It Again.
Well, that's indeed what he's been able to do. Ravon and Anthony, thank you. Thanks, of course, to Minnie and to Lala and to all the team, Andrew Bond as well, Craig Peters. It's been a Vodacom Durban July where, again, another name has been written into the history of this great race. It's the same name as last year. Do It Again has, as Ravon said, done it again.